DepEd. Halina't alamin atin ang tuklasin, mga health programs ating palaganapin. Tara na okay na okay, Oplan kalusugan sa DepEd. Halina't alamin atin ang tuklasin, mga health programs ating palaganapin. School-based feeding program ating pagtibayin. Wastong pagkain ating ihahain, mga batang kulang sa timbang. Ating pakakainin ng Go, Grow, and Glow. Adolescent reproductive health ay gawing gabay at patnubay ng batang mausisa ay di maranasan. Ang early pregnancy ay maiiwasan. Kalusugan ay mahalaga sa edukasyon ng mga bata. Tayo na't magkaisa, halina tayo'y sumama. Tara na okay na okay, Oplan kalusugan sa DepEd. Halina't alamin atin ang tuklasin, mga health programs ating palaganapin. Tara na okay, Oplan kalusugan sa DepEd. Halina't alamin atin ang tuklasin, mga health programs ating palaganapin. National Drug Education Program or NDEP kung tawagin. Ito'y paigtingin, mga bisyo'y alisin. Sigarilyo at droga'y dapat nang puksain. Water, sanitation, and hygiene in schools ating kompletuhin, 3 stars ay abutin. Malinis na tubig, segregated na toilet, group hand washing at may napkin na rin. Kalusugan ay mahalaga sa edukasyon ng mga bata. Tayo na't magkaisa, halina tayo'y sumama. Tara na okay, Oplan kalusugan sa DepEd. Halina't alamin atin ang tuklasin, mga health programs ating palaganapin. Tara na okay, Oplan kalusugan sa DepEd. Halina't alamin atin ang tuklasin, mga health programs ating palaganapin. Medical, dental, and nursing services na atin ding binibigay upang matugunan problema ang pangkalusugan ng mga guro at kabataan. School mental health program, kamalayan ito'y bigyang diin. Isipang malusog para sa akin at sa'yo, kabataan at guro, tara usap tayo. Kalusugan ay mahalaga sa edukasyon ng mga bata. Tayo na't magkaisa, halina tayo'y sumama. Tara na okay, Oplan kalusugan sa DepEd. Halina't alamin atin ang tuklasin, mga health programs ating palaganapin. Tara na okay, Oplan kalusugan sa DepEd. Halina't alamin atin ang tuklasin, mga health programs ating palaganapin. Tara na okay, Oplan kalusugan sa DepEd. Halina't alamin atin ang tuklasin, mga health programs ating palaganapin. Okay talaga sa DepEd. Okay talaga sa DepEd.
kamighimo tolangit sikoy ko kamighimo taaldoy bulan ikaw ang nagbuhat sa kabituunan ikaw ang nagbuhat sa kalibutan manama mawantog ka warag po ko ilingkoy ko o Diyos kahibulungan ka busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شمل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دباو وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the lights of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
manama mawantog ka warag po ko ilingkoy ko o Diyos kahibulungan ka busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko busa ikaw lang ang alagaran ko
Ayan, so magandang hapon po ulit sa inyong lahat. Ngayon ay araw na naman ng Martes, ibig sabihin magkakasama na naman tayo para sa ating sabi ko tuloy okay sa DepEd, sa ating National Drug Education Program or NDEP webinar series. Pero yung okay sa DepEd na narinig nyo po yung jingle kanina ay yung flagship o yung pinakang program or flagship initiative ng DepEd kung saan kino-converge po natin ang iba-ibang health. Sa inyong pagsama muli sa araw na ito, nababasa namin ang inyong mga comments, kung saan kayo nanonood, kung saang parte ng Pilipinas namin kayo nakakasama. Maraming salamat po. Natutuwa po kami na kahit na 5 minutes before 4 o'clock, nakaabang na po talaga kayo. Perhaps nanonotify kayo kung kailan nagla-live si DepEd Philippines at kayo ay nakikita ninyo at sumasama na kayo sa ating broadcast once ma-notify kayo. So thank you. Hinihintay lang natin na makasama pa yung iba nating mga regularly na uma-attend ng ating webinar series. So please feel free to do some stretching and prepare para sa susunod na 2 oras na magkakasama tayo ngayong hapon. Yung sinasabi ko kanina na jingle ng Okay sa DepEd, gusto ko lang i-highlight na ito ay composition ng ilan sa ating mga health personnel. Yung lyrics ay sinulat ni Ma'am Luz Viminda Ikawalo, ni Ma'am Everlina Glitendes at ni Ma'am Elaine Joy Ikawalo. Yung music ay inarrange ni Ma'am Elaine Joy Ikawalo at ang performance ay ginawa ni Ma'am Richalyn Mayoral. Ayan. So maraming salamat sa pag-compose ng isang jingle na maaalala natin ang mga programa ng DepEd pagdating sa school health and nutrition programs. So again, welcome po muli sa ating National Drug Education Program webinar series or NDEP webinar series. Ayan. So siguro ang isa nating pwedeng pag-usapan ngayong hapon, paano na ninyo nagagamit yung ating mga pinag-aaralan, yung ating mga linggo-linggong pinag-uusapan. Kasi ang nakikita natin, merong mga practical applications na tayong na nakukuha sa bawat ginagawa natin, sa bawat pinag-uusapan natin. So I hope na nakukuha ninyo yung mga principles, hindi lang natin siya magagamit sa National Drug Education Program sa pagbubukas ng klase, hindi lang natin siya magagamit pag may physical classes na. But even now na nasa ating mga bahay tayo, na regularly umattend ng webinars and doing other preparations for the opening of the school year, nakikita natin yung kahalagahan ng mga principles na meron tayo. Ayan. Okay, so ngayong hapon, katulad nung naka-announce sa ating DepEd Philippines, ang pag-uusapan naman natin ay yung role ng workplace in substance use prevention. So nakadalawang episodes na tayo. September 8, pinag-usapan natin ang role ng schools bilang importanteng setting for substance use prevention kasama si Prof. Grace Ducapante, na nakita natin doon na very strategic pala ang ating schools, na marami talaga tayong nagagawa. Ang sabi nga ng iba nating mga teachers, bakit parang lahat na ng programs ng government nasa school na natin? Pero kasi nakikita natin yung pagiging strategic natin, no? Na we can use our platform of touching the lives of our learners for these advocacies, for these programs. So strategic pa rin ang school as a setting for substance use prevention. Last week, pinag-usapan natin kasama si Pastor LJ na meron tayong UNODC International Standards on Drug Use Prevention. Kung saan sabi natin doon na hindi lang pala tayo basta-basta mag-iisip ng program. Hindi natin sasabihin na, uy, tara mag-invite tayo ng mga dating gumamit ng drugs para takutin nila yung mga bata, ipunin natin sa isang gym and bigyan natin sila ng lecture. Sabi natin, meron palang mga evidence-based interventions na pinag-aaralan talaga kung yun bang isang programa o yung bang isang initiative o policy makakatulong. Sana nga wala or hindi makakatulong. Kasi merong iba, no evidence or no effect. So somehow, sayang lang yung resources. Pero ang delikado, pwede palang maka-harm or maging negative yung effect ng programa. Bagamat gusto nating i-prevent yung drugs kasi we think that will help our young people, kapag pala yung ating mga programa ay hindi evidence-based, minsan yun pa yung makakasama. So yun yung pinag-usapan natin last week, yung UNODC International Standards on Drug Use Prevention. So exciting naman yung topic natin ngayon kasi ang DepEd naman hindi lang siya school setting. Meron din tayo, tinitingnan din tayo as a workplace setting. At ayoko nang i-preempt kasi we have a very good resource person na ipapakilala mamaya sa atin at makakasama natin para pag-usapan ito. Pero sige, katulad ng ginagawa natin linggo-linggo, kumustahan nga muna tayo. Ano ang pakiramdam mo ngayon? Kumusta po kayo? Pwede nyo po bang kunin? Pwede niyo po bang i-type sa comment section ang inyong pakiramdam? Excited? Pagod? Ayan, so meron ilan sa inyo, parang pang ilang webinar na ito sa maghapon. Alam nyo, yun din siguro yung maganda nating i-manage, no? Paano tayo magpa-participate sa virtual activities kasi sabi nila may fatigue din itong naidudulot sa ating kalusugan. Yan. Excited? Looking forward sa mga matututunan? Sige, i-type nyo po sa comment section. We are excited to know kumusta ang pakiramdam ninyo. Ayan, may mga personal ding pinagdadaanan and yet nagpapatuloy sa ating mga assignments sa trabaho. Kinakabahan sa opening of classes. Ayan, so iba-ibang mga pakiramdam. At ang isang pinopromote natin sa DepEd sa gitna ng pandemya na ito ay yung maging attuned sa ating nararamdaman. No? Na kung ano yung nararamdaman natin, maging aware tayo doon para alam natin paano kumilos sa halip na kalabanin natin yung nararamdaman natin. Ayan. So sige, isulat nyo lang po sa comment section. Ayan. Maraming salamat. Sige, meron pa akong kasunod na tanong at naitanong din natin ito last week. Ano ang inyong major takeaway from last week's episode? Ayan, UNODC standards. Meron ba kayong parang one statement na natandaan ninyo talaga na sinabi ni Pastor LJ na sabi nyo, ay, tatandaan ko to or hindi ko na to makakalimutan. Kasi ako ang personal takeaway ko from the first episode pa lang that drug prevention can be harmful if we are not careful. And that was like a very striking moment sa akin. So sana kayo meron din kayong mga takeaways per session. Ano naman yung takeaways ninyo from last week's episode? I-type ninyo sa comment section. Sige, tingnan natin yan. Exciting na mabasa na meron tayong talagang napupulot sa ating webinar series. Kanina, sa simula ng ating broadcast, or actually before 4 p.m., nagpakita na tayo ng mga example na takeaways ng iba-ibang participants na share nila sa Facebook. So we would like just to highlight some of them. So yung isa nga dito from Ma'am Myra Cynthia Bolangay Taponite, at kinuha natin ang kanyang Facebook photo, no? Ito highlights key statements ito from the webinar last week, substance use, kung ano-ano yung kasama sa kanya, hindi lang pala ito yung illegal drugs, but meron pang ibang psychoactive substances. And then, sabi niya rin dito, kailangan evidence-based yung substance use prevention para maging cost-effective investment siya. I think these are some really good summaries na nandun din sa presentation last week. Pero we appreciate how Ma'am Cynthia selected these statements. Ayan, sabi niya dito ni Ma'am Cynthia sa kanyang third statement, no, yung kailangan yung avoid or delay the initiation of the use of drugs or avoid na mag-develop pa into further disorder kung hindi pa sila start. Ayan, so isa sa mga takeaways na. And ito yung highlight ko talaga and personally kasi ito rin yung isa sa mga takeaway ko. We must implement evidence-based practices. So the key word is evidence-based. And we are thankful na meron tayong UNODC standards. Ayan, sabi naman ni Ma'am Elisa Baybayan, maraming salamat daw kay Pastor LJ Espeleta para sa kanyang ginawang pag-share na makakatulong hindi lang sa ating learners. Ayan, salamat sa mga learners na nanonood, but even sa guardians and teachers. Yan. So, joint forces, yun yung sinagamit niya dito, joint forces of teachers, parents, and society as a whole, yung paggagawa natin ng substance use prevention. So, kayo naman, ano ang mga take-away ninyo? Isulat ninyo sa comment section. Excited kaming basahin yan later and balikan. And even ngayon, sa webinar natin ngayon, we encourage you to share the video and then put on your caption yung mga takeaways ninyo, yung mga insights na natutunan ninyo for this episode. Clarify ko lang po yung mga pinakita natin na takeaways, hindi pa sila automatic yung nanalo ng cellphones. Alright? Later, we will make some announcements kung paano yung criteria natin in selecting those who would win cellphones. Para sa mga bago pa lang nanonood ngayon at nakasama sa webinar, last week, merong magandang announcement ang ating partner from the Dangerous Drugs Board na meron silang prizes para sa mga active participants ng ating webinar series na ito. Yan. So abangan nyo lang, tumuto kayo kasi we really announce and answer most of your questions dito sa broadcast. So kung meron kayo minsang namimiss at tinatanong sa comment section, sometimes nasagot na natin siya dito sa ating live stream. Sige, last question na lang. Ay, bago pala pumunta doon sa last question. Ito lang, i-take note lang natin ulit to. I think if there's one thing na maganda lang nating maging reference palagi from the session last week, and ako ito rin yung kinukuha ko, is yung UNODC standards. We become really conscious that what we are doing are evidence-based and naaayon sa standards. So this is the links that you can go to get a deeper understanding of what was discussed last week. Last question na lang kasi I know excited na kayo at sabi ninyo gusto ninyo mas maraming time to listen to our resource person. So this, because we'll be talking about the workplace, can you just write in the comments kumusta kayo sa inyong workplace? What are you thankful for? Sige, can you write your answers in the comment section and we'll be excited to read them. Ayan. So some of you are thankful para sa inyong mga office mates. Ayan. Thankful dahil nakapag-rest kahit papano. Okay, thankful para sa mga natututunan sa trabaho. Thankful dahil may trabaho, no, sa gitna ng mga pinagdadaanan natin. Ayan. So maraming salamat sa pag-share ng inyong mga bagay na ipinagpapasalamat. Kami rin po, ipinagpapasalamat namin kayong lahat ng kasama natin sa broadcast na ito. Kasi dahil po talaga sa inyong support, na-encourage po kami every time we read your comments, your feedback. Nakikita namin yung statistics sa Facebook na marami po sa inyong nanonood during our broadcast. We really appreciate it at maraming salamat po. So again, before we proceed, let me just reiterate some reminders. Especially po, para sa mga nagtatanong sa comment section at sa mga post, usually after the broadcast, pay attention to this one. Ayan. So una, lahat po ng details about this webinar series ay sinagot na po natin sa ating memo na una pa nating ipinalabas at makikita po siya sa link na ito, bit.ly/2020 NDEP web series. Sa ngayon, may memo po tayo na nandyan at sapat na yon para po sagutin yung marami ninyong tanong. Sa mga nagtatanong din, paano ba mag-register? So pinopost naman po natin ito sa caption na ang registration po natin ay sa bit.ly/2020 NDEP web series reg. Pag nag-register po kayo, makikita nyo po sa pinakang dulo ng registration at marireceive nyo rin po sa email yung copy ng responses kasama itong enrollment key. Ano pong gagawin natin sa enrollment key? Basahin nyo rin po sa copy ng email na nakuha ninyo upon your registration kasi pagpunta nyo po sa DepEd Professional Development Learning Management System, yung link po nakalagay doon sa email, nakalagay doon sa registration, kailangan nyo lang yung enrollment key and then makakapasok na po kayo sa course. Pag nasa course na po kayo, isa po ito sa frequently asked question, magre-register ba kami every Tuesday? Hindi na po. Isang beses lang po kayo kailangang mag-register. Pero naiintindihan po natin na yung iba po kasi sa inyo ay sa third session pa lang nakasama. So kailangan nilang balikan yung first and second session. O yung iba po sa inyo, ngayon lang namin talaga nakasama at ngayon lang nakita itong live. So naging interested kayong sumali. So sundin nyo lang po yung registration, yung instruction na nakasulat doon. Punta po kayo sa DepEd Professional Development Learning Management System or PDLMS. Tapos yun na, doon na po kayo mag-quiz, doon nyo napapanoorin yung recording, at doon na rin po mag-generate ng inyong certificates. So speaking of certificates, isa po kasi ito sa lagi ninyong tinatanong, doon po automatic na mag-generate sa DepEd PDLMS. Again, yung enrollment key, it should be in your email kung registered po kayo. Huwag nyo po ipamigay yung enrollment key kasi pag po pinamigay natin ang enrollment key, pwede pong ang mabigyan natin hindi pala registered. So we encourage everyone to register para po makita yung instruction. Now, at the end of each session, nagtatanong po kasi ang mga participants natin, bakit wala pa yung exit quiz? Ina-expect po ata na ipopost po ang sorry. So ina-expect po ata na ipopost ang ating ang ating exit quiz sa Facebook Philippines. So hindi po 'yon gagawin. Pupunta lang po kayo sa PDLMS at 8 o'clock every Tuesday, 2 hours after the live broadcast. Tapos nandun na po yung exit quiz. And katulad din po ng in-announce natin from the first session at sa memo, kailangan nyo pong maka 80% ng inyong quiz para po mabigyan kayo ng certificate of attendance. And of course, toward the end, pag nakumpleto po natin yung 10 episodes ng webinar series na ito, doon po tayo mabibigyan ng certificate of completion. So, automatic po, may mga check boxes doon. So, halimbawa, na-checkan yung una kasi you watch the recording. Ma-checkan din po yung exit quiz kapag naipasa nyo ito. And then, automatic mag-generate po sa ilalim ng PDLMS sa screen nyo, sa ilalim nun, doon lalabas yung certificate. Alright, I know these are new things sa marami po sa atin. So, inaaral pa po natin yung mga sistema and we are really being patient with each other para matutunan ang lahat ng ito. Again, so katulad din po ng sinabi natin last week, during the broadcast, kung meron po kayong questions, comments, and insights to share, we encourage you to use this link, bit.ly/2020 NDEP Web Series Feedback. Bakit hindi na lang sa comment section ilagay ang mga questions, comments, at insights? Kasi po natatabunan siya ng maraming mga bago pa lang nanonood at nagsasabi, I'm watching from this town or that municipality. So para makita natin yung mga comments ninyo, i-type nyo po dito sa link na binibigay natin. Alright, so I know, excited na po ang marami sa atin na magsimula. Katulad po ng sinasabi natin, ang webinar series pong ito, katulad ng iba pang mga initiatives ng Department of Education patungkol sa drug education, ay ginagawa natin in partnership with the Dangerous Drugs Board. And mapalad po tayo kasi every Tuesday, our Undersecretary and Executive Director of the Dangerous Drugs Board really makes time and makes effort to be with us and to share with us his insights and ano pang mga directions na manggagaling sa DDB. So let's welcome again Yusek Earl sa Avedra, our DDB Executive Director para sa kanyang message. Yusek Earl?
Magandang hapon, Sir Gian. Magandang hapon sa ating mga kasamahan. Magkakasama naman po tayo dito sa ating tambayan ng talakayan, ang webinar series patungkol sa National Drug Education Program na pinapangunahan ng Kagawaran ng Edukasyon at sinusuportahan ng Dangerous Drugs Board. Pangatlong linggo na po ito ng aking diskusyon at nagagalak po kami sapagkat na-maintain po natin ang momentum ng interes na ipinapakita ng bawat isa na nakakasama natin tuwing Martes dito sa virtual platform. If I may say, kayo po ay mga tunay na mga anti-drug advocates, maging estudyante man kayo, guro, or concerned citizen na lumalahok sa hapong ito. Parati ko po itong sinasabi, hindi lamang sa 4 na bahagi ng classroom natin mailalahad ng mabuti ang halaga ng kampanya kontra iligal na droga. Sa ating ginagalawan na komunidad, organisasyon, grupo, at pati na rin sa loob mismo ng ating tahanan, nararapat po na patuloy natin ibahagi ang importansya ng pag-iwas sa iligal na droga. As we try to recall the previous learnings which we had on drug abuse prevention, we are reminded that substance abuse serves as gateway to drug abuse. Nagsisimula po ito sa pagkakaroon ng ibang bisyo na bumabagsak sa paggamit ng iligal na droga at kadalasan, kabataan ang biktima. This is the reason why DepEd and DDB invested on the institutionalization of the National Drug Education Program or NDEP. Education is a powerful tool to instill discipline and foster behavioral change as a way of curbing the vulnerabilities of young people from becoming drug dependents. Bago po nangyari itong COVID pandemic, ako po ay nagkaroon ng opportunity to visit countries and learn from their demand reduction and preventive education approaches. Napakahalaga po ng aking naging experience sapagkat dito natin nakikita ang kahalagahan ng drug education program. Kailangan nating simulan at paigtingin ang kampanya kontra droga sa ginagalawan nating mga tanggapan at paligid. Masususugan natin ito sa pamamagitan ng mga polisiya at programa patungkol sa healthy lifestyle, leadership, and discipline. Aside from the young people, the workforce is also vulnerable to drug abuse. Kaya maganda na itong topic po na pag-uusapan natin ngayong hapon is about freeing our workplaces from the menace of drug use. Most often, people are exposed to harsh environments and at the same time, pressures, stress sa loob ng kanilang workplaces. With this, we mandated the establishment of drug-free workplace programs na masususugan din natin sa pamamagitan ng drug-free workplace policies both in the private sector and in the government. Executive Order number 66 series of 2018 ang siyang naglalayong i-institutionalize ang Philippine Anti-Illegal Drug Strategy or PADS and gives emphasis on the creation of drug-free workplaces. Para makamtan ang mga adhikain na ito na may magagandang layunin, nais ko pong sabihin na kailangan namin kayo sa kampanya na inilulunsad po natin ngayon. Malaking bagay ang inyong partisipasyon sa webinar na ito, and this is a good first step to commit to our anti-drug campaign. With what is expected of you here, I want you to convince yourself that your voice matters. Knowledge will spell out the difference in you, and your role in our campaign against drugs does not have to wait for the future to come. You can help now, and do not be afraid to step up because we are all in this together. Bago ko po tapusin itong mensahe ko po sa inyo, meron lamang po akong 3 takeaways na babanggitin sa naging sharing ko ngayon. First is pakikibahagi. Second, pag-aambag. Third, pakikiisa. Ipapashare ko po itong 3 takeaways sa Facebook page ng Dangerous Drugs Board. Mag-comment po kayo doon in 5 sentences kung ano ang inyong reflection sa 3 takeaways na nabanggit ko. Again, uulitin ko, no? First is pakikibahagi. Second, pag-aambag. Third, pakikiisa. So, yung inyo pong comment, kung anong inyong reflection sa 3 takeaways na nabanggit ko, at ang 3 magaganda yung naging reflection, ang siyang makakakuha po ng cellphone prize mula sa aming tanggapan sa webinar series or webinar session po na ginagawa natin ngayon. So kung kayo po ay napili, makipag-coordinate po sa inyo ang aming team. Please do it after the webinar po. Remember, para hindi po kayo ma-distract sa inyong participation dito sa ating virtual session ngayon. Huwag kalimutan na magtungo sa Facebook page ng Dangerous Drugs Board para makilahok kung sakali kayo ay interesado. Muli, patuloy po nating hangarin ang mabuting kalusugan ng lahat sa pamamagitan ng ibayong pag-iingat. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po, Yusek Earl. Ang ganda po nung sinabi ni Yusek Earl, no? Your voice matters. So our teachers, our BKD coordinators, our NDEP coordinators, our health personnel, and other non-teaching personnel sa DepEd, and of course, our learners, your voice matters. And salamat po, Yusek Earl, sa 3 salita na iniwan ninyo sa amin, pakikibahagi, pag-aambag, at pakikiisa. So excited po tayong mabasa ang inyong mga insights at pagninilay patungkol sa mga topics na yan at paano ito ma-relate siguro sa session natin ngayon. Pero sabi nga ni Yusek Earl, wag po ngayon, wag habang nakikinig sa session, gawin natin siya after the session for the chance then to win yun pong prizes na bigay ng DDP. Again, maraming salamat po, Yusek Earl, for being a reliable partner of the Department of Education in its National Drug Education Program. Hindi lang sa webinar series na ito, but sa lahat pa ng mga initiatives ng DepEd tungkol sa National Drug Education Program. Ngayon naman po, pakinggan natin ang message ng aming Chief sa School Health Division, Bureau of Learner Support Services. Let's welcome Dr. Maria Corazon Dumlao. Opo, mukhang meron pa tayong audio. Doc? Ayan. So Doc, naka-mute pa po yata kayo at this moment. Ayan, hindi po natin naririnig si Dr. Dumlao. So we will just see, meron naman tayong back-end technical support to get her back. So maganda yung sinabi ni Yusek Earl kanina, no? Na-realize ko po, mag-take note po tayo, no? Hindi lang mula sa lecture mismo but even sa messages, weekly messages ni Yusek Earl and then ni Dr. Dumlao. Kasi meron din tayong mga makukuhang information. So isa dun sa mga nakuha natin from Yusek Earl, yung mga Philippine Anti-Drug Strategy, meron siyang executive order na binanggit. I think that's a good reference din na titingnan natin as implementers of this program. Kasi in the end, pagdating naman sa school level, we also rely on the directions provided by the national government and national agencies such as DDP and the Department of Education. Ayan, so tingnan natin kung okay na yung audio ni Dr. Dumlao for her message. Ayan, Dr. Dumlao, kumusta po? Hindi pa rin po. Ayan, so siguro sa mga bago pa lang na nakasama natin sa broadcast, katulad ng sinabi natin, magiging open naman ang broadcast na ito until November. The recordings will be available sa Facebook and madali ninyong ma-access sa ating Professional Development Learning Management System ng Department of Education. Lahat ng mga links na binanggit natin, pinakita natin sa screen kanina, pwede ninyong puntahan and nandun lahat ng detalye ng kailangan ninyong malaman patungkol sa activity na ito. Ayan. So tingnan natin kung makakabalik na sa atin si Dr. Dumlao. Ayan, Doc. Hindi pa rin po. Ayan. Siguro we will just get back to the message later. Every Tuesday, merong magagandang reminders din na binibigay sa atin si Doc. But one of the things that she often highlights is, ito pong ginagawa natin sa webinar series na ito ay hindi isolated effort. This is part of our Oplan Kalusugan sa Department of Education, the bigger flagship initiative of the Department of Education when it comes to our health and nutrition programs. And marami rin po tayong continuing efforts. So para bigyan din tayo ng konteksto, ano ba ang National Drug Education Program, kung saan nakailalim ang activity niya ito na NDEP webinar series, let me introduce you once again to our National Coordinator for the National Drug Education Program. Let's welcome Ms. Gurley Azurin, our Senior Education Program Specialist, still from the Bureau of Learner Support Services School Health Division. Ma'am Gurley.
Thank you, Gian. Well, magandang hapon po muli sa inyong lahat. Last week, I gave you a brief introduction to NDEP. We talked about the meaning, its objectives, and components. Well, to know more about the program, on each episode of the webinar, I will give you one activity under NDEP for us to appreciate the program and its advocacy of drug prevention. Today, I will share with you the training of Universal Prevention Curriculum for Substance Use or UPC. Okay, next slide, please. So, let me give you the brief description of UPC. This is a training series that provides extensive foundational knowledge to drug prevention coordinators about the most effective evidence-based prevention interventions on substance use that are currently available. And this training series po was developed through the funding from U.S. Department of State to the Colombo Plan for the International Center for Credentialing and Education of Addiction Professionals, or ICCP. Okay, next slide, please. So there are 9 curricula in UPC Series Training 1, UPC Series 1. We have Curriculum 1, Introduction to Prevention Science, because knowing what prevention science is all about. 2, Physiology and Pharmacology for Prevention Specialists. So this is more on the medical aspects of substance use. 3, monitoring and evaluation of prevention interventions and policies. 4, 5, 6 are the different settings for the prevention interventions. We have family-based, school-based, workplace-based. 7, environment-based prevention interventions. 8, media-based prevention interventions. And 9, community-based prevention implementation system. So these are the 9 curricula of UPC Series 1. Next, please. So what are the major accomplishments of DepEd in UPC? First, we participated in the training for national UPC trainers. There were 16 national trainers in different agencies, of course, including DepEd. And we were lucky because we were trained by the global master trainers, one of which, of course, is our very own chief, Dr. Maria Corazon Dumlao. Along with her are the other global master trainers. We have Professor Grace Tante, our speaker on the first episode. We have Sir L.J. Espeleta, our last week's speaker. We have also Ma'am Tess Pineda from the Dangerous Drugs Board. And we have Dr. Jo Chung Lin Kiao from the Colombo Plan. Okay, second, as part of our commitment, we conducted training for regional UPC trainers. So far, curriculum 1, 2, 5, and 6 were already done. And we have 101 regional trainers nationwide, composed of our NDEP coordinators from the regions and divisions. Third, we are proud to inform you that DepEd, through the School Health Division, downloaded funds for the cascading of this UPC training. And because of that funds, the fourth one, the regions conducted the rollout training of UPC. And based on our records, we have already 2,856 prevention coordinators nationwide trained in UPC. And that's composed of our health personnel, guidance counselors, and teachers. Okay, next slide, please. So let's have a glimpse of the trainings conducted in UPC. No? Here, this was UPC Curriculum 1, held on July 1 to 14, 2017 in Cebu City. Next, please. Next slide, please. Curriculum 2, held last November 9 to 13, 2018 in General Santos City. Next slide, please. Curriculum 5, August 12 to 16, 2019, again in Gensan. Next, please. Next slide. And UPC 6, or Curriculum 6, December 9 to 13, 2019 at Southview Hotel, Dumaguete City. Okay, next slide, please. Well, these are some photos of our regional rollout. Yan po, different regions. Next, and again, photos from the regional rollout. Okay, next, I think that's my last slide. So that's it for our UPC training. Meron pa po tayong speaker. So till next episode po for other NDEP activities. Thank you very much po.
Kaya maraming salamat, Ma'am Girly. So para sa ating mga NDEP coordinators hanggang sa school level, division, and region, si Ma'am Girly po ang ating coordinator for the program. And maganda na nakikita po natin na yung activities na ginagawa natin sa schools ay bahagi ng isang overall program na marami pa pong iba-ibang activities, kagaya na nga ng webinar series na ito. So ang UPC ay isa po sa mga activities under the National Drug Education Program. Balikan niyo po yung mga sessions natin nung nakaraang linggo, and abangan niyo pa po ang mga susunod na sessions kasi marami pa po tayong malalaman tungkol sa NDEP. Hiniwa-hiwalay po natin yan hanggang sa dulo ng ating series. So bago po natin ulit tawagin si Ma'am Girly para ipakilala ang ating resource person, reminder lang po ulit na pakita po natin sa inyong screen ang isang final reminder, no? Kung meron po kayong questions, comments, and insights na kailangang i-share during the talk of our resource person, i-type nyo lamang po siya sa bit.ly/2020 NDEP web series feedback. Again, that's bit.ly/2020 NDEP web series feedback. So let me again call on Ma'am Girly para po ipakilala ang ating resource person ngayong hapon. Ma'am Girly?
Okay, salamat po, Gian. Our speaker for this webinar has been a chief trainer of Drug Check Philippines for 16 years, handling the training and development programs of the company. He mastered the advocacy of drug-free workplace by offering a comprehensive drug abuse prevention program to the company's client, both public and private. He strengthened his platform by partnering with Philippine Council of NGOs Against Drug and Substance Abuse, or PhilCADSA, where he served as a spokesperson for plans and programs for 12 years. Advancing its flagship program, Family Life Skills or Pagsasanay ng Pamilyang Pilipino, or PPP, he specifically handled the life skills training for the youth and was part of the team that initiated the revision of life skills manual in Jakarta, Indonesia and Penang, Malaysia in 2012. The concept of workplace-based prevention intervention solidified his drug-free workplace advocacy as he was a member of the pioneer team of the National Trainers for the Republic of the Philippines of the Universal Prevention Curriculum by the Colombo Plan. His passion for drug prevention has made him a public figure and an in-demand speaker with his animated style in schools, colleges, and in universities that paved the way to his guesting on several news and current affairs shows on free and cable TV, radio, and podcasts. He was recently recognized internationally as a pioneer member of the pool of Global Master Trainers for International Society of Substance Use Prevention and Treatment Professional, or ISOP, of the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime at Vienna, Austria, and as an alumnus of the International Visitors Leadership Program, or IVLP, in the United States of America. Colleagues, let's all welcome my friend, a co-trainer in UPC training, Sir Santaner Tedranes Iray.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'm so excited. I just want to say thank you first to Dr. Corazon Dumlao, a master trainer for UPC, for inviting me, and also to my classmates at UPC, national trainer for the Republic of the Philippines, for Universal Prevention Curriculum, my co-trainer po, si Ma'am Girly Azurin. Maraming salamat for giving me the opportunity po to hear my platform and to inspire a lot of people, especially po yung ating mga NDEP coordinators at yung nakatutok po ngayon ng live sa FB page po ng Department of Education Philippines, and then dito sa lahat ng sulok ng ating bansa, and siguro sa maaabot po ng ating digital platform. Maraming salamat po. I'm so excited because for 16 years, my topic and advocacy is about workplace intervention. At gusto ko lang pong sabihin sa ating lahat na mas madami pa po tayong oras na sinispend sa workplace kesa sa bahay natin. And if we master the advocacy on workplace-based prevention intervention para po maiwasan yung paggamit ng substance or droga, then we can bring that program at home. Kasi po yung mga nagtatrabaho po sa kanilang workplace, may it be working po in the school, working in manufacturing companies, working in construction companies, working in BPO, sila po ay meron ding mga pamilya. Sila po ay mga nanay at tatay. Sila po ay mga anak. Sila din po ay mga magulang. So if they actually learn something from the workplace, they can bring that program at home, and that can also be a contribution to the society. So very tripartite yung nakikita kong approach. Kasi pag workplace program, pwedeng madala sa bahay or sa tahanan, at pwede pong madala na contribution sa society. So that's the reason why I'm so excited this afternoon para maging bahagi po nitong webinar series po, at pangatlo po ako na speaker, at yung mga nauna pong dalawang speakers po, sila po yung mga master trainers po, at dumaan po ako sa kanila at ako po yung product nila. So I hope po mabigyan ko ng justice yung invitation po sa akin. allow me to start by saying na yung drug-free workplace po is an evidence-based prevention intervention. Papunta po tayo sa evidence-based prevention intervention. At kung meron po kayong cellphone, para po malaman natin na ito po ay evidence-based prevention intervention. So dito po sa browser ng Google, pwede po natin ditong i-type yung SAMHSA. Ang spelling niya po is SAMHSA. Ang ibig sabihin po niyan is Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration or SAMHSA. So pag tinay po natin dito sa search engine, alright, pag lumabas po yung search engine, itatype lang po natin yung drug-free workplace para malaman po natin na evidence-based siya. And then isi-search po natin yung drug-free workplace. Lalabas po dito, alright, sa SAMHSA, yung kanilang programa na Drug-Free Workplace Program. So meron po tayong nakikita dito na Drug-Free Workplace Toolkit. So lahat po itong toolkit can be used as benchmarks para at least po yung ating programa is naka-anchor dun sa international standards na diniscuss din po ni Pastor LJ na nakabase sa dun sa international standards ng United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. So since we are moving and the Philippines is adopting the evidence-based prevention intervention and drug-free workplace is an evidence-based prevention intervention, titingin lang po tayo kasi pag tinanong kayo, bakit mo nasabi na yung drug-free workplace is an evidence-based prevention intervention? So pwede mo nang i-quote na dito po sa Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, pag tinype mo siya, makikita mo na yung drug-free workplace program is evidence-based sa sobrang dami pong nagsasabi ng kanyang efficacy. So pag sinabi po nating efficacy, ibig sabihin kung gaano po kaganda, hindi lang kaganda, but gaano po ka-effective yung programa ng drug-free workplace. All right, I'm so fortunate because last year I was chosen po to be part of the International Visitors Leadership Program that I consider as one of the most, if not the most, prestigious exchange program in the world. At gusto ko lang pong ipakita sa inyo na meron po akong pin na nanggaling sa SAMHSA. At doon ko po diniscuss yung akin pong drug-free workplace advocacy. And I'm so excited kasi po, hindi ko po sinasabi na advanced sila, pero nandun na sila sa stage na yon. Kasi ang pinopromote nila is no longer drug-free workplace as an aid for prevention, but to develop a recovery-friendly workplace program. When we say recovery-friendly workplace program is giving those victims a chance, yung mga gumamit po ng drugs, to be reinstated sa kanilang trabaho para at least ma-regain nila yung kanilang strength at makita nila yung kanilang halaga sa society. At yun po yung gusto nating mapatunayan dito sa tinatawag nating drug-free workplace program. So it's not just prevention, but developing a friendly workplace for those once who were victims of substance abuse. All right po. So I hope I was able to give the evidence po kung bakit natin natawag the drug-free workplace as an evidence-based prevention intervention. I always believe that your job is not just a job. It is a calling. So whether you are a teacher, whether you are a non-teaching staff, whether you are a street sweeper, but you are doing your job the way Michelangelo has painted, the way Shakespeare wrote a poem, the way Sharon Cuneta performs her Best Actress trophy for Madrasta, then behold, it is not about the job, but it is how much love you put to what you do that matters. At gusto kong i-encourage kayong lahat kasi baka nagkaroon na kayo ng fatigue of attending webinar. And thank you for the 3 E's that you are showing to me right now. First is your energy. I may not be able to see you guys and I just don't know how you're going to be interactive with this kind of talk kasi di ko kayo nakikita. And I'm not used to it because I used to be an animated speaker. Pero because we have to embrace the new normal, kailangan po din itong mga webinar at sana hindi po kayo makatulog at your comforts of your home or wherever you are right now po as you listen to me and as you actually registered para dito sa ating 3rd episode for NDEP. At gusto ko lang pong ipagbigyan pasalamat po yung ating energy, yung ating enthusiasm, yung ating empathy. So sana ibigay niyo po sa akin yung inyong empathy sa pamamagitan po ng pakikinig sa akin, hindi lang para maipasa yung 10 questions po at the end of this webinar, pero para mas makatulong tayo on how to make our workplace a drug-free workplace. And allow me to start by telling you history. Substance abuse has deep roots in the history of mankind. So noon pa man, meron na talaga tayong problema sa substance abuse. So ngayong mga panahon na to, kailangan talaga nating maging strategic in our approach. Kailangan hindi lang talaga yung approach natin is based from hearsay. Kailangan po maging evidence-based yung approaches natin. Kasi noon pa man, may problema na tayo sa substance abuse. And marijuana, earliest known and cultivated plant, is older than the maize of the Peruvian Incas. So if you go back to the history, marijuana, which is the second most commonly abused drug in the country today, was earliest known and cultivated plant is older than maize of the Peruvian Incas. And would you believe if I tell you that Assyrians used marijuana for ritual purposes in 9000 BC, and from there it spread to the Near East, Central Asia, Africa, South America, Europe to North America, and right now, as I've mentioned earlier and told you, it is the second most commonly abused drugs in the country today. And allow me, as part of the education, advocacy, and training na component ng ating Republic Act 9165, which is creating for awareness, to introduce to you some learnings about the second most commonly abused drugs in the country today. And these are the actual photos of how marijuana looks. I've given you 4 slides. And the first slide talks about the first marijuana. And one of the street names is Five Fingers. And would you ask me saan nanggaling yung Five Fingers? Believe me, Five Fingers is a street name because the users are afraid to be caught. The pushers are afraid to be caught, that they are using street name or salitang kalye that only themselves understand. And one of them is Five Fingers because that was patterned after the 5 leaves of marijuana. So kung samahan niyo akong magbilang, 5 po ang dahon ng marijuana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's why one of the street names of marijuana is Five Fingers. And we need, as part of our education, is not just to learn about the technicalities, but also to learn na meron na po mga bagong mga street names para parte po iyan ng ating educational campaign for us to be aware. Para at least pag narinig na natin to, we would be able to know the proper intervention, and at the same time, hindi tayo mapag-iiwanan because alam na natin. Kasi naniniwala ako lamang ang may alam, at kapag may alam ka, huwag ka lang manlalamang. Kasi sabi ni Spider-Man na member ng Avenger, a great power comes a great responsibility. So yung natutunan mo ngayon, huwag mo lang ikimkim sa sarili mo. You need to share. Kasi yung kaalaman na yan, it will become a blessing when you share it to someone, especially pag wala pa siyang alam. Kaya pag may alam ka, huwag ka lang manlalamang. Pero po, through the hands of time, nag-improve na rin po yung marijuana. And the next slide po, hindi lang 5 dahon, kundi 9 na dahon. And some po are advocates of legalizing marijuana for medicinal purposes. If you can still recall, Catriona Gray in 2018 was asked, and the question sa kanya sa top 5 Miss Universe is, what can you say about the legalization of marijuana in the world? And Catriona Gray answered, I am for the use, for medicinal use, but not so for recreational use. Because I think if people are to argue, how about alcohol and cigarettes, where everything is good, but in moderation? And that paved the way for Catriona to get the 4th crown for Miss Universe, and it made a history, not only for the Philippines, but also in one of the countries in Southeast Asia. Because after 2 weeks or so, Thailand was the first country in Southeast Asia na nag-legalize ng marijuana for medicinal purposes. Gusto ko lang pong sabihin sa inyo na nag-issue po ng memorandum yung atin pong Dangerous Drugs Board about a vape na may content ng cannabinoid. And that is extracted from the ingredient from marijuana. And vape po ngayon sa mga kabataan, kailangan po nating i-intervene po yan. Although syempre medyo bago po sa ating pandinig. Pero hindi lang po dahil sa may content po itong vape na to ng cannabinoid, which is extracted from marijuana. Pero this is dangerous according to health sciences. And kailangan nating mas-save yung ating mga kabataan. At kung meron tayong mga kabataan na ngayon po ay gumagamit ng vape, you might have your second thought. Kasi ito pa rin po ay substance. At ang ating campaign is kung wala ang droga sa buhay mo, ang kinabukasan mo ay sigurado. So bakit ka patataya sa hindi sigurado kung kaya mo namang tumaya sa siguro ka? na walang droga. Ulitin ko lang po, kung wala ang droga sa buhay mo, ang kinabukasan mo ay sigurado. Taking a look at our third slide, yung upper slide are the dried leaves of marijuana cut into smaller pieces. Nakita niyo po yung part na yan na medyo maputi po na mahaba, yun po ang tinatawag nila dati na cigarettes. And what they do, tinatanggal nila yung brown substance from the cigarettes at pinapalitan nila nitong brown na leaves ng marijuana. Pero hindi na po yan uso ngayon. Kasi tumaas na po sila. And gusto ko lang pong sabihin sa inyo na ang ginagawa po nila ngayon ay hindi na yan. And they smoked it. Alright? And of course, anong ginagawa nila? Hindi na po yung filter o palara ng sigarilyo, kundi papel ng Biblia. And from now on, for NDEP coordinators and for some teachers, for you to be able to know, if you've heard about holy smoke, that is one of the street names of marijuana. Because the smoke that comes out from the paper from the Bible is called holy smoke. And that is one of the street names of marijuana. Kaya lamang ang may alam, at kapag lamang ka, wag ka lang man lalamang. And yung lower part po, hindi na po yan leaves ng marijuana, kundi dried seeds ng marijuana, and that is very dangerous. Kasi aside from the tetrahydrocannabinol, meron din po siyang hashish oil that makes it so dangerous. And the next slide po, kung ating titingnan, are the dried marijuana. Yan po yung bulaklak ng marijuana or dried marijuana flower. And to know more about marijuana, since I was able to discuss about the different portions of marijuana, kasi para sa mga users, yung lahat ng parte ng marijuana ay ginagamit. And gusto ko rin para sa ating mga NDEP coordinators that you know na ito na tong mga street names, kailangan nating malaman for us to be aware. Kasama po yan sa ating drug prevention initiative. Alright? And yung ating street names ng marijuana ay 5 fingers. As I've discussed, it was patterned after the 5 leaves. Meron po tayong OMADs. Yung OMADs po kung nakikita nyo sa screen ay biniliktad na damo. Nilagyan lang ng S para maging sosyal. Meron din po tayong Mary Jane. Meron po tayong, nakita nyo po yung T-S-O-N-G-K-E. If you belong to the Highlander, you pronounce that as chonky, pataas. But if you belong to the Lowlander, you pronounce that as chonke, pababa. Meron din po tayong damo, jutes, cupcake, and etc. Yung etc. po is not one of the street names. That's, of course, pretty obvious. Pero marami pang iba, and one of them is gulay. At hindi lang po gulay, kundi joints. At ngayon po, tumaas na po yung joints, naging 2 joints. And of course, I love Korean novela, and believe me, one of the street names of marijuana was patterned after a street name, a very popular Korean novela, and that is Jumong. Dinamay pa nila si Jumong. Yung scientific name po ng marijuana, take note of this, the scientific name of marijuana is cannabis sativa. And I think if you read the Bible, it was patterned from the word Canaan. Alright? Yung Canaan po is a place from the Bible. Okay? Canaan, cannabis sativa plant. And the main ingredient po of marijuana is tetrahydrocannabinol or THC. Now, pag magpapadrug test ka po, ang tinitingnan po, ini-extract po doon para makita na ikaw po ay nag-positive sa paggamit ng marijuana is tetrahydrocannabinol or THC. Pero sa pagda-drug test po, it's yung unang initial screening is through the use of test kit. Kapag ikaw po ay nag-positive sa initial screening, hindi po pwedeng sabihin na positive. Ang tawag po dyan ay for further analysis or FFA. Saka po lang malalaman kung ikaw ay positive kapag yung specimen po ay na-submit na sa confirmatory laboratory. So yung confirmatory laboratory po ang magsasabi kung ikaw po talaga ay gumamit ng tetrahydrocannabinol or marijuana or nag-cross-react lang or false positive ito. And for the effects po, i-discuss din in the next part of this topic, which is the physiological and psychological, all right, yun ang pharmacology and physiology of using drugs. I think that's for the next episode. Pasensya na po. Medyo binigay ko na po sa inyo. Pag walang pagbabago, yun po yung next episode natin for next week. All right? So yan po yung ating titingnan. So ano po yung mangyayari? Hindi ka makakabuo. Because for men, magkakaroon ka ng pagkabaog, and for women, magkakaroon ka ng temporary loss of fertility. At hindi lang po yan, alright, kasama din po yung paano ito ginagamit. So marijuana is being smoked, as I've said. It is being blended with food and even eaten. And ano po yung epekto nito? Slowing down of mental activities and impaired thinking. At meron din po siyang kinalaman sa iyong reading comprehension. Makakaapekto po siya doon. And of course, hindi lang po yan, pero yung sa psychological effects, magkakaroon ka ng panic anxiety reaction and even fear and hallucination. At hindi lang po yan yung epekto, kundi may epekto din po siya sa bata. Physical deformities, another physical deformities, and of course, a hydrocephalus baby. Sinabi ko kanina, pag wala ang droga sa buhay mo, ang kinabukasan mo ay sigurado. It is with our passion in the workplace, kasi ngayon po yung dilemma is kapag nag-invite ka ng mga people in the private sector na a-attend po ng health talk, wala pong pumupunta unless this is mandatory or for compliance. Kapag mag-i-invite ka lang na, come on, attend ka ng health talk, walang masyadong interesado. And that is my dilemma for some companies in the private sector. I don't know kung sa public sector ay ganun din po. Na kapag nag-invite kayo at hindi siya mandatory, maraming uma-attend. At kapag nalaman na nila yung topic is about drug prevention, ang una nilang sinasabi is hindi naman ako gumagamit ng drugs. At yung campaign natin bilang isang NDEP coordinator and bilang mga advocate ng drug-free workplace is hindi lang naman ito para doon sa mga gumagamit or may mga cases. But our campaign is prevention. And we need to actually be aware of the effects and the threat and the danger of using drugs. Because prevention is better than cure. Napakasimple po ng prevention is better than cure, pero yun po talaga ang essence ng prevention. Pero Sir Santi, come on! May prevention campaign, pero marami pa rin ang gumagamit ng drugs. So wala naman daw silbi ang prevention. And my answer to them, pag walang prevention initiatives, baka hindi lang ganyan ang mga gumagamit ng drugs. Because prevention really works. And your workplace, I believe, should be holy. Kaya hindi ka lang dapat workaholic, dapat workaholic ka rin. Anong ibig sabihin? Workaholic na spelled as I. Pero kailangan nating baguhin. Workaholic na spelled as Y. Workaholic. Alright? I hope you guys, I hope I was able to get your interest. But believe me, opium originated in the kingdom of Samaria about 4,000 years before Christ. And the use of drugs has been condemned in religious texts and documents. Ano po itong mga ganito? Sa Holy Scripture po, sa book of Judges of the Old Testament, would you believe me if I tell you that Samson was put to sleep by Delilah by a drug-laced wine? That's in the Holy Scripture. And the Greek and Roman literature, Cleopatra was said to have drunk a narcotic-laced wine before allowing her to be bitten by a poisonous asp from the Nile River. And giving you more information, believe it that Nero, who poisoned his own mother, was drug-crazed as he watched the burning of Rome. And Roman uses cocaine before any oracles or black magic or any action. Noon pa man, kahit sa Biblia, kahit sa Greek and Roman literature, makikita na natin yung substance abuse. Nakakatuwang isipin, no? Or minsan, nakakashock. Meron na pala, nung unang panahon pa. And kanina po, nabanggit ko po the use of cocaine before any oracles. Pero sa Pilipinas po, ang pinaka number one pong inaabusong droga ay shabu. And these are the actual photos, or some, para at least for you to have knowledge. And yan po yung crystal form. That's the powdered form. And let me shock you, there's already a tablet form of shabu. At hindi lang yan, meron na pong liquid form of shabu. At yung partner po natin, of course, sa policy making is yung ating Dangerous Drugs Board. At sa atin pong supply reduction is yung ating PIDEA. At yung atin pong non-government organization na PhilCADSA, where I am actually working as a spokesperson or a volunteer. Alright po, yung PhilCADSA or Philippine Council of NGOs Against Drugs and Substance Abuse ay isa po sa mga convener po at member po ng PIDEA accredited NGO. So nakakatulong din po tayo para sa campaign na yan. But of course, gusto ko palang sabihin sa inyo na yung mga street names po una yung bato. Alright? Shrubs. Yung pag-pronounce po yung shrubs, hindi po shrubs. Shrubs. Ubash. Ganyan po. May mga social party. Alright? And Shopal. One of the street names. And of course, yung pinaka-popular na alam nyo na ay Speed or Crystal, Star or Uppers. Pero kung titingnan natin, wala pong nagsabi ng dahil gumamit siya ng shabu, gumanda ang buhay. Tanungin natin kung bakit at pag-usapan po natin kung bakit. Kasi kung titinan natin dito sa physiological change or personal change of 5 years, makikita natin yung pagbabago sa mukha. Physical pa lang po yan. At pag nakita na natin, after 10 years of using shabu, yan na po yung itsura. Tama na naman tayo. Wala pang nagsabi ng dahil gumamit ng drugs, gumanda ang buhay. Kasi makikita natin dun sa physical change. So kung titingnan natin ito, yung normal, yan po sa kabilang side. At kapag gumamit po ng methamphetamine, nakita po natin kung ano yung epekto sa brain. At eto pong next slide natin ay yung taong namatay dahil sa paggamit po ng shabu. At kung makikita po natin tuyot at sunog po yung utak. Again, ulitin ko lang, wala pang nagsabi ng dahil gumamit ng drugs, gumanda ang buhay. So bakit pa tayo gagamit? Kung wala ang droga sa buhay mo, ang kinabukasan mo ay sigurado. At yan po yung ating kampanya, hindi lang sa workplace. And kung kapag school setting po ito, we can bring that program from workplace, nakikita ng mga bata, may programa po tayo na drug-free workplace program, yung mga bata, they can see that. And we can bring that also to the children in the school and in our home. And we can bring that also to the children in our community. Ang ganda. So workplace is part para at least maging intervention din siya na madala natin. Marami tayo, magsasanga-sanga siya. Alright? Kasi hindi lang naman isa dapat ang intervention. Dapat madami tayong intervention. Kasama na dyan yung faith-based, kasama na dyan yung media-based. Yan, isa sa universal prevention curriculum na diniscuss kanina ni Ma'am Gurley. Yan. Pagsama-sama natin ginawa ito with that specific setting because intervention must be age-appropriate. Intervention must be on the setting, appropriate on the setting, appropriate on the age. At titingnan din natin yung kanyang efficacy. Para talagang itong intervention natin is hindi lang tayo nag-trial and error. Alam na natin magiging effective to because this is evidence-based. Alright? And moving on, Peruvian and Mexican Incas used narcotics or coca leaves, roots plus corn in religious rituals. And during the Romantic period, Christian crusade against Attila the Hun, led by Knights of Charlemagne the Great, fight the Paladins from the ranks of Turks. The Paladins belongs to a religious cult, were recruited by Attila the Hun, then were given narcotic hashish and sent to suicidal mission, assassinations and murders. Kaya gusto ko lang kayong i-shock. Yung assassin po was taken from the word hashashin. Ulitin ko lang po, yung assassin po na yan was taken from hashashin. That's a great learning for today. All right. Homer in his book of Odyssey mentioned about a drug which quenches pain and strife and brings forgetfulness to every ill. And Shakespeare could have been alluding to opium when he wrote, "Look where he come. Not poppy, nor mandragoma, nor all the drowsy syrup of the world shall ever medicine thee to that swell sleep which you thou outs yesterday." And the Greek word narkotikos, that means sleep. And of course, yung alright, siguro yung pinag-uusapan po, marami tayong mga cases yung ecstasy. Gusto ko lang pong i-discuss sa inyo because I was able to mention few or maybe some or maybe surprising na mga different substances or mga drugs na noon pa ay medyo naaabuso na talaga. And in the Philippines, yung ecstasy po. And part of your learning, kung makikita nyo, ecstasy is a designer drug. As you can see it, each design has different psychological effects. It comes on a designer form. At kung makikita po ninyo, yung isa po dyan is yung MTV design. Sana makita po ninyo dyan sa slide. Yung MTV design. So yan po ang ibig sabihin, rave drug, rave party drug. And yan po dapat yung ating kinakampanya. Kasi maraming mga kabataan, hindi nila alam kung anong epekto sa kanila. Alam lang nila is, hey, good to. Yung ganyan. Pero hindi nila alam na may epekto sa kanila. And marami po tayong mga testimonies on national TV na napabalita na maraming kabataan ang napahamak. Sila po ay mga bata pa lang. Sila po ay mga may teenager. Diba? I don't know if you have followed yung mga issues po na because of ecstasy, yung mga balita because of ecstasy napahamak sila. Yung mga kabataan na dapat may dreams. Yung mga kabataan na dapat yung sinasabi ni Dr. Jose Rizal na pag-asa ng ating bayan. Diba, napahamak ng dahil sa droga and very specific for ecstasy. Nakita nyo yung MTV design. It's a rave drug. Kung titingnan nyo po, sa screen ko po is nasa left side, I'm sorry, it's a brand. It's a Mitsubishi emblem and a Volkswagen. And who are the users of those designs? The drivers and drag racers. They can drive for 24 to 48 hours without eating, without stopping, and it seems they are the kings of the road. Nakatulong ba sa kanila? Hindi. Car accident happened. Alright? Yung next design is star design. At ano yung star design na yan? Because sabi nila, it makes them alive. Pero hindi nila alam that ecstasy will hurt them. Yung star design, sabi, ang epekto sa kanila is they can be awakened for 24 to 48 hours, but the problem is it is affecting their brains. Nakita lang nila na ito yung short-term effect sa kanila, pero hindi nila nakita yung long-term effect sa kanila. And look at the Calvin Klein design. Kasi kapag sinuot daw nila, kapag nag-take daw sila ng Calvin Klein design, it seems they are wearing a Calvin Klein shirt. Pero hindi mo kailangan ng Calvin Klein na yan na tablet ng ecstasy. Kasi ang kailangan mo lang is to empower yourself, to believe in yourself that you can do it. At kapag na-reject ka, if I'm talking to someone else at that screen, at mga kabataan pong naka-follow sa live FB feed ng ating Department of Education, if you are rejected, rejection is not rejection. It is redirecting you to something better. Kaya walang lugar ang droga para gawin mo siyang part ng coping mo. Because rejection is not rejection at all. It is redirecting you to something better. Kapag merong mga umaalis, iniwanan ka, it's okay. Kasi may darating na mas okay. Na hindi ka sasaktan at hindi ka iiwanan. We've learned that from Popoy and Basha, one more chance. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Fight to become better, not bitter. Wag drugs because one problem cannot be solved by making another problem. The use of drugs is making another problem. So don't use drugs. Alright? At yung next is love drug. At ano yung love drug? Kung nakikita niyo yung love drug, ang ginagawa lang nila ay ginaganon. Alright? And it seems daw nakipagtalik sila for 24 to 48 hours. My goodness, kung anong ginawa nila sa sarili nila. Dahil doon sa sinasabit, udyok ng mga barkada nila na ito yung epekto sa kanila. And I'm telling to the young people, hindi lang young people, and even for those young professionals na posibleng mag-try, and parte ng ating campaign as NDEP coordinator, at bilang advocate po ng drug-free workplace, is for them to be able to know na ganyan talaga yung marketing strategy ng mga pusher. Is para ipakita sa'yo yung facade na ito yung magiging epekto, but yung ending, ikaw yung mapapahamak. At ibabalik lang natin yung ending na wala pang gumamit ng drugs na gumanda ang buhay. Kasi sila, napahamak sila ng dahil sa paggamit. Lahat na yun, lahat napahamak ng dahil sa paggamit ng drugs. Ecstasy is a designer drug. The main ingredient is methylene, dioxymethamphetamine, or MDMA. Yung other names, XTC, Eve, Essence, Lover, Speed, Herbal Bliss, Hug Drug, Mercedes, and Libido. Pero kung titingnan mo yung epekto, psychological effects, mood swing, unable to deal with stress, loss of temper, restlessness, anxiety, erratic behavior, paranoia, and sa physiological effects, raise of body temperature, glassy eyes, or inability to focus vision. Ang lahat ng mga negative effects. Kaya yun yung dapat nating i-campaign. Na itong mga drugs or illegal drugs sa Pilipinas, yung shabu, which is the first commonly abused drugs, yung marijuana, the second most commonly abused drugs, and yung ecstasy na emerging drugs, kailangan mawala yan. And that's our campaign sa workplace, to become a drug-free workplace. Politics of drugs. Opium did not originate in China. First cultivated in Middle East and later in India and Pakistan, then a province of India, and in Afghanistan, then part of the British Empire. Marco Polo, an Italian traveler, introduced opium to the throne of Kublai Khan. And 5 centuries later, an opium trade between China and the Portuguese merchant became a lucrative business, but was banned in 1729 by Chinese Qing Emperor. The ban was made ineffective because of the triads. British took over and in 1773 established the opium trade through the British East Indies Company. So ibig sabihin, noon pa man, meron na tayong problema talaga sa drugs. Kaya ngayon, kailangan mas effective pa yung campaign natin. Kailangan sama-sama tayo. Kanina kay sa DDB, kay Secretary kay Yusik Earl, yung sinabi niya, makiambag tayo. Tayo dapat ay sama-sama for this fight. Fight for this campaign. All right? Chinese emperor pronounced different decrees to further ban importation, trading and trafficking of opium, but failed. And so in the great conflict of interest between China and Britain led to the first Opium War in 1839 to 1842. And Hong Kong was ceded to Great Britain then followed by another Opium War in 1856 to 1858. Cession of Kowloon, then 1898, a 99-year lease of the 366 square miles of Hong Kong and Kowloon was forged between China and Great Britain. Ang gusto ko lang pong pasalamatan and to give recognition po kay Attorney Cesar Posada of the Dangerous Drugs Board. I can listen to him all day. Kapag nagtutalk po siya, he's really my inspiration. So wag nyo na pong i-invite si Attorney Cesar Posada. Nasa langit na po siya. At ngayon po ay nakatingin sa atin habang nagtutalk po ako ngayon at kausap ko po kayo wherever you are in the Philippines today. I know po mapalakpak po siya because we are actually bringing this program to you. The NDEP coordinators, teachers, non-teaching, yung iba pa pong nag-login sa atin ngayon dahil naniniwala na magkakaroon sila ng knowledge. At sa mga friends ko po na laging sumusuporta sa akin, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Substance abuse problem in the workplace has a detrimental effect on the health and social well-being of the individual workers and his family, as well as to the employment setting and national economy. Lagi akong naniniwala na pag yung workplace natin is healthy, it will become productive. Kapag drug-free po yung ating workplace, magiging mas madami po yung mga healthy. Kasi importante dito yung ating underlying principles, safety and health. Health and safety. Pag yung drug-free we have a drug-free workplace, yung safety yung ating priority at yung health ng ating mga empleyado. Pag okay yung kanilang safety, pag healthy sila, ibig sabihin po nito, productive silang mga empleyado. At magiging contribution po ito para sa national economy. Ang ganda po. It is really a domino effect. So, tayo dapat magkakasama po tayo dito sa programa. Alright? Sa drug-free workplace. The legal basis po. Una, yung Article 5, Section 47 and 48 of Republic Act 9165 or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. Alright. Yung legal basis pa rin po natin na pangalawa is the Board Regulation Number 2, Series of 2004, Guidelines, alright, for the formulation and implementation of a drug-free workplace program. At nabanggit po kanina ni Yusik Earl, yung Board Regulation Number 13, Series of 2018. Alright? And the Department Order 53-03, yung drug-free workplace program. And of course, yung ating Civil Service Commission Memorandum Circular Number 13, dated July 28, 2010. And of course, yung mga city ordinance po natin na nagmamando po na bago makakuha ng sanitary permit, yung lahat ng mga kumpanya, yung kanilang mga empleyado, kailangan po magkaroon ng drug test. Maganda po itong initiative para at least ma-maintain po natin yung ating workplace po is drug-free. Alright? Moving on. Sa Republic Act 9165 po, or Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, it was created to safeguard the integrity of our territory, to protect the well-being of our citizen. Gusto natin yung ating mga, lahat ng mga Pilipino, ang vision ko po talaga is makita po na magkaroon tayo ng drug-free Philippines. Usually po ang sinasabi ng ating mga sangay ng ating gobyerno is drug-resistant. Pero ang vision ko po talaga, ang vision natin lahat, ng NDEP coordinators, ang vision natin lahat is maging drug-free Philippines. Pero kailangan magsimula po talaga sa atin. Dapat hindi tayo maging parte ng statistics. Kailangan yung passion natin about this advocacy. Siguro naririnig nyo naman po, nag-aalab po ako every time I am being invited. Because this has been my advocacy for 16 years. Alright? And then to prevent the use and abuse of dangerous drugs, yung paggamit at pag-abuso ng ipinagbabawal na gamot at kahit yung substance use, and to defend the same from any behavior exhibited by other individuals under the influence of dangerous drugs. Yan po ang dahilan kung bakit meron po tayong batas, the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002, to be a deterrent para at least magkaroon po tayo na ibabangga natin sa mga programa natin. Alright? Sa Republic Act 9165, yung drug testing shall only be done by the followings: the government forensic laboratories like PIDEA or the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency and the PNP Crime Laboratory. Drug testing laboratories accredited by the Department of Health. Believe me, drug testing is not just a standalone thing. Ulitin ko lang po, though, binabanggit ko sa inyo yung about drug testing na mentioned to earlier dun sa stock ko. Pero lagi niyong tatandaan, drug testing is not just a standalone thing. Pag naririnig nating drug-free workplace, ang unang pumapasok sa mind natin even for private and even for government, maybe government offices, is drug testing. Mali. Drug testing is just a component. It's just part of a comprehensive drug abuse prevention and control program. Hindi lang yun dapat ang component. Alright? Hindi lang yun dapat. It should be a comprehensive approach. Alright? Kasi kapag drug testing lang, it is acting as punitive. Gusto natin yung ating programa is maging inclusive para sa lahat. Yung maging inspire sila to making our workplace a drug-free workplace. Na kahit sa bahay nila ay madala nila yung programa na yun. Yun po talaga yung campaign ko. Na yung workplace, hindi lang natatapos sa workplace. Pwedeng pag-usapan sa bahay kasi meron kayong mga anak. Paglabas ng school, pwede po nating i-campaign para sa ating mga estudyante. Because tayo ay ginajudge ng mga younger people. Not just with the words we say, but also with the action that we take. Alright? So balikan ko lang po, drug testing laboratories accredited by the Department of Health. The following shall be subjected to undergo drug testing applicants for driver's license. Though it's not required. Pero para po sa mga bagong magre-renew, they are actually required na magpa-drug test. Alright? Kapag kukuha po sila ng driver's license. Sino pa po applicants for firearms license? Tama lang naman na mga humahawak ng baril ay kailangan pong kumuha ng drug test. Sino pa po? Students of secondary and tertiary schools. So secondary and tertiary schools are also subjected for the drug testing sa Republic Act 9165 but subject to parents' consent. Alright? For the students in secondary. Officers and members of the military. All candidates for public office. Alright? Dati po, ay lahat ng mga kumakandidato po ay dinadrug test. Pero may mga challenges po eh. Kaya medyo nag-stop po. Pero para sa akin, kung ako po yung tatanungin, kailangan po. Alright? At sila din dapat ay sumusulong para sa programa po natin. Okay? At the same time, all charged with criminal offense. At dito po tayo na fall. Officers and employees of private and public offices shall be subjected to undergo drug testing. Right? Article 2, Section 15, the use of dangerous drugs. A person apprehended or arrested who is found to be confirmed positive for use of any dangerous drug shall be imposed the following penalty. Rehabilitation for 6 months. Rehab for 6 months. Sa amin po sa private sector, we are doing a partnership with the Department of Health. So we endorse. Hinutulungan po natin yung mga kumpanya na hindi lang matapos dun sa testing, na hindi lang matapos dun sa education, but to reform the person. Para at least bumalik yung tao, to be reinstated back to work. At para ma-reinstate din yung kanyang self-confidence. At ma-realize niya na wala namang naging magandang dulot yung paggamit ng droga sa kanya. And i-welcome ulit siya sa society. At para maisip niya na siya ay parte ng society. At magiging kabahagi kapag siya ay drug-free. At para mapagpatuloy niya rin yung kanyang trabaho para sa kanyang pamilya. Repeat offenders nga lang po kakaiba. Iba na po yung magiging intervention because imprisonment po yan between 6 to 12 years and a fine ranging between 50,000 pesos to 200,000 pesos. Article 2, Section 2, this is possession of dangerous drugs considered to be a criminal offense. So kung titingnan natin, anybody caught with possession of any dangerous drugs in the following quantity, regardless of purity, 500 grams or more of marijuana and 10 grams or more of all other dangerous drugs shall be imposed of the following penalties. Ano po ito? Fine ranging from 500,000 pesos to 10 million pesos. And of course, nandyan pa yung penalty of life imprisonment to death. So anong ibig sabihin? Huwag nang magdroga. Right? Huwag nang magbenta ng droga. Dalawa po yan. Huwag magbenta, huwag magdroga. Susulong-sulong po tayo para sa kampanya na to. Workplace, walang nagbebenta, walang nagtutulak, at walang nagda-drugs. Ibig sabihin, that's a healthy workplace. That's a productive employee. At magiging maganda po yung kinabukasan ng bansa natin kapag yung ating mga workplaces po are safe and healthy, yung mga empleyado. Right? That is our dream. Section 47, drug-free workplace. It is the policy of the state to promote drug-free workplaces using a tripartite approach. Of course, ating partner po kanina, yung Dangerous Drugs Board, yung Department of Labor and Employment po, para po yan sa ating private company or mga private companies po, DOLE, and of course, yung company mismo po. And the private company, together with its tripartite group, shall formulate the necessary guidelines for the implementation of the National Drug-Free Workplace Program. Of course, sa atin po naman na nasa government, ang ating kapartner po dyan is yung Civil Service Commission. As I've mentioned po, yung pinanggagalingan ng legal basis po ng ating drug-free workplace program. And the guidelines shall be part of the company handbook or code of conduct kasi dapat doon po mababase eh. Kailangan ang ating program po is naka-anchor doon sa ating handbook or company code of conduct because in the event na meron po tayong mga nag-violate, doon po natin ibabase. Pero yung ating pong handbook na yan should be coordinated at dapat po ay nakabalanse po siya doon sa sinasabi ng ating batas. And this program is required to be adopted by companies employing 10 or above. Ulitin ko lang po, and this program is required to be adopted by companies employing 10 or above. Sir Santi, 9 lang po yung empleyado namin. 8 lang po ang empleyado namin. 7 lang po ang empleyado namin. So, aren't we mandated by the law? Kahit hindi po kayo minamanduhan ng batas, but we encourage you to at least to have your own drug-free workplace program. Ulitin ko lang po, para po sa mga kumpanya, pribado po, na meron po silang 9 na empleyado pababa, at yung required po natin dito is 10 empleyado pataas para sa mga tanggapan pong pampubliko at private, kahit 9 lang po kayo pababa, we're encouraging you to have a program on the drug-free workplace. And components of a drug-free workplace policies and programs, diniscuss ko po kanina. Yung components po para at least meron na kayong application. So nag-discuss po ako ng advocacy, education, and training. So nag-start po tayo sa drug awareness, different kinds of drugs and its effects. Kasama na po dyan yung ating mga street names na kailangan nating i-discuss. Kasi nga yung mga supervisors and training, kailangan po yung mangyayari doon sa setting up of our drug-free workplace program. So kapag hindi po sila aware na pinag-uusapan na pala ng mga kanilang mga people from their ranks or mga empleyado na mga rank and file, yung different street names or salitang kalye, naririnig ng mga supervisor, hindi nila alam. So importanteng malaman natin itong mga street names na to para at least alam natin pag nag-usap, oh, I've heard about something. So ibig sabihin, meron ka na, you're one step ahead. Alright? Para sa programa. At ano pa po ito? Drug testing program for officers and employees. Are expats included in the drug testing? Yes, because they work in the Philippines. At dapat sumama, at dapat sila ay nasa sa ilalim sa policy ng kumpanya kasi nandito sa Pilipinas. Alright? And treatment, rehabilitation, and referral. So treatment, rehabilitation, and referral, binibigyan natin sila ng opportunity para magbagong buhay. Alright? Yung kaninang ini-encourage ko po, yung pagkakaroon ng recovery-friendly workplace. I love the term, recovery-friendly workplace. So hindi lang po tayo drug prevention, pero of course, wag na nating hayaang dumating pa doon. Pero may mga biktima po because of the circumstances. Alright? Na ayaw nating maging judgmental because of the social stigma. At gusto nating bigyan sila ng pag-asa para makabalik. Alright? At maging mabuting parte ng isang sosyedad at ng ating lipunan. And to encourage more companies to be embracing and to encourage a recovery-friendly workplace. And then monitoring and evaluation. May naalala po ako dito si Professor Grace po. Ito po yung kaniyang expertise, yung monitoring and evaluation. So ano po dito sa monitoring and evaluation, paano po natin malalaman na ito po ay effective? Ay, after po my talk, ang dami pong pumalakpak. Ay, ang dami po nag-comment, energetic, animated yung speaker. Yun ba yung monitoring and evaluation? Huwag po nating bitawan. Kailangan po bangking mahagi po yung monitoring and evaluation. Tanong niya kung bakit. Para at least malaman natin kung ipagpapatuloy pa yung programa, kailangan pa bang i-enhance or kailangan na siyang ihinto. Doon po mabasok ang monitoring and evaluation. So perfect po yung component na yan ng drug-free workplace policies and programs. Saan nag-start? Advocacy, education, and training. Drug testing, which is an application of the program. And of course, meron po tayong treatment, rehabilitation, and referral para mabigyan ng pag-asa yung ating mga kapatid na nawala ng landas. And monitoring and evaluation to check yung efficacy of the program if it is actually working or not. Okay? So aims or objectives of drug abuse prevention in the workplace. Bakit po tayo magkakaroon ito? Una, to maintain and restore healthy and safety standards, productivity and quality of workmanship in the enterprise or company or in the institution as the case may be or in the school. Ano po yung ating campaign? Maintain and restore healthy and safety standards. Paulit-ulit kanina yun kasi yun po yung atin ngayon. Hashtag healthy and safety standards. Ano yung gusto nating i-achieve sa workplace? healthy employees and yung safety nila is maintained para magkaroon ng productivity and of course, pag productive po sila, quality yung kanilang maibibigay na performance. Okay? Sa kanilang trabaho. And reduce absenteeism. Oh, parang hindi na yata absent ito kasi ito pala ay ay kabahagi rin kung bakit natin ginagawa ito para mabawasan yung palaging pagliban sa isang tanggapan. Okay? So to reduce absenteeism, the next, all right, avoid the loss of employees and the employees' loss of work. All right. Kawalan ito. Paulit-ulit kong sinasabi, wala pang nagsabi ng dahil gumamit ng drugs, gumanda ang buhay. So for us, why do we make drug-free workplace program? To avoid the loss of employees and of course, the employees' loss of work. And motivate employees with drug or alcohol problems to seek appropriate help. Intervention, diagnosis should be earlier. Prevention is better than cure. Yung iba, kasi dahil dun sa stigma, hindi sila nagsisik ng early intervention. Alright? Pero kung kapag very embracing, walang boundaries, walang social stigma, non-judgmental, kasi bawal ang judgmental, sabi ng isang noontime show, alright? Mamomotivate natin itong mga empleyado para at least magsabi agad sila na sila ay biktima nito at ayaw na nila itong lumala pa. So magkakaroon agad ng appropriate intervention. Kasi nga, nalaman at naintindihan natin kung ano yung pinagdadaanan nila. And then refer employees to appropriate source of assistance. I-refer natin sila kung saan sila pwedeng pumunta, kanino sila pwedeng pumunta. Right? And here are the facts. Pag wala po tayong drug-free workplace program, more workday missed. Absenteeism. Imagine, yung sa AIM, balikan ko lang po sa AIM, reduce absenteeism. So here are the facts. Pag walang drug-free workplace program, more workday missed, more absenteeism, more tardiness, more injuries to self and others, more sick leaves. Baka mamaya, sir, kasama pala yung mga sick leaves na yan. Okay, iniwasan po natin yan. Alright, more overtime pay. Ulitin ko lang po Alright, here are the facts. Pag wala po tayong drug-free workplace program, more workday missed, more absenteeism, more tardiness, more injuries to self and others, more sick leaves, and more overtime pay. Okay? And less productivity and other hidden cost. Diverted managerial time. Ang nakakatakot kasi nito, especially for private companies, is kapag yung manager talaga yung substance abuser or with substance use disorder. That's a new term. Alright? Diverted managerial time. Damage to equipment. Alam natin yan. Napabalita yan last year. Alright? Yung mga nandun sa skyway, biglang humarurot, biglang nahulog yung sasakyan. Tapos yung driver, nagdodroga. Yung crane na minamaniobra ng isang construction company. Di ba? Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga hidden cost kapag wala tayong drug-free workplace program. Alright? So para hindi tayo gumastos ng sobra, magkaroon na tayo ng drug-free workplace program. Okay? Para wala tayong damage to equipment, wala tayong friction among workers, wala nag-aaway-away. Sabi ko kanino, workaholic. H-O-L-Y-C. Hindi lang H-O-L-I-C, kundi H-O-L-Y-C, holic. Diba? Making your work as a holy place. Pag holy place yan, dapat drug-free. Diba? Ibig sabihin, kapag trinit po natin yung ating workplace, because that becomes our second home. Binanggit ko kanina, mas madami pang ang oras ikaw na nasispend para sa iyong mga office mates. At marami ka pang oras na nasispend sa workplace mo kaysa sa bahay mo. Pag uwi mo ng bahay, pagod ka, magkakain ka, matutulog ka. Adin alis na naman ulit. Di ba po? Ngayon lang tayong lockdown, nagkaroon ng masyadong time sa ating bahay. Poor decisions. Alright? Ano pa? Damage to company's public image or institution's public image. Di ba po? Ibig sabihin, pag nasa posisyon ka, at ikaw po at sa isang institution pa na masyadong tinitingala, halimbawa sa school, At ikaw po ay, di ba, ayaw nating maging judgmental, pero syempre po, damage to the institution's public image. At ayaw po nating mangyari yun. Kailangan po natin magawan agad ng intervention. And when you add up all the costs involved when the problem is ignored, can you afford not to establish a drug and substance abuse program? How then can you protect your workers from those who, through these things? Diba? Paano maprotektahan kung wala tayong programa? Diba? O, paano maprotektahan kung hindi tayo magkaroon ng drug-free workplace program? I love to say that. Okay po? And factors affecting drug abuse in the workplace. Ano yung mga factors na nakaka-apekto ng drug abuse in the workplace? Tingnan din natin. Alright, sinabi ko kanina yung sa social stigma. Ano ba yung mga factors? Bakit merong substance abuse na nangyayari? Or drug abuse in the workplace? Una, calamity problems. Alright, ito po yung mga nangyayari ngayon. Some people cannot cope. Di ba po? Iba-iba yung coping. Di ba po? Pero sinabi ko pa ulit-ulit, drugs will not solve your problem. It will add up to another problem. How can you solve a problem by making another problem? Alright po? Pero tingnan natin to, factors affecting drug abuse in the workplace, calamity problems, economic crisis. Dun ko na nga tinitingnan eh. Di ba? Kung binili mo na ng pagkain yan, di mas okay. Di ba po? Nakatulong pa. Ang gusto ko lang sabihin dito is we need to invest our time, our money, our relationship wisely. Para pag nagkaroon ng mga economic crisis na ito at tama po yung pag-spend mo ng iyong time, money, and relationship wisely, isa ka dun sa mga hindi masyadong takot. Okay? And family problems. Pero paulit-ulit, we can never choose our problem. But you can choose to be happy even at the midst of your problem. Hindi ka pwedeng pumili ng problema mo pero kaya mong ngumiti kahit nasa gitna ka ng pigate because tomorrow is another day. Lucky me, nood-nood din ng commercial pag may time. Ang problema sa'yo, palipat-lipat ka ng channel. Yung bata yan, sabi ng bata, Ma, I did not make it to the contest. Sumagot yung anak niya. Sumagot yung nanay niya, I'm disappointed anak. Sumagot yung anak niya, it's okay ma, tomorrow is another day. I love that commercial. Di ba po? Because it is reminding us that there's a rainbow after the rain. If you were stuck in your past, it's okay. Do not be stuck with your past. Di ba po? Wag ka na masyado doon sa past mo. It's a history. Nobody knows. Di ba? History mo yun. Okay? Worrying about the future? It's a mystery. Nobody knows. But just enjoy the present. Because the present is a gift. That's why it's called present. Kung Fu Panda. Nood-nood din po ng cartoons pag may time. Di ba po, ang ganda-ganda. Ang sinasabi nito is do not be stuck with your past. It's a history. Your past does not define who you are of your present because your present must be bigger than your past mistakes. Do not worry about your future. It's a mystery nobody knows, but just enjoy and savor the moment because the present is a gift. That's why it's called present. And I hope you guys are inspired today. At yun po talaga yung campaign na gusto ko pong gawin dun sa drug-free workplace program. It's motivational in approach. I'm just so excited lang na hindi talaga siya scare tactics. It's not evidence-based. Scare tactics do not work. Kaya paulit-ulit yung sinasabi kanina, yung drug testing na sinasabi, it is not actually a stand-alone thing. It's part of a comprehensive drug abuse prevention program. Kasi ayaw nating maging punitive yung approach. Hindi po yan drug-free workplace na evidence-based. Gusto po natin, parte po siya ng health programs. At kung babasehan po natin itong mga factors affecting drug abuse in the workplace, like calamity problems, economic crisis, family problems, yung iba po dyan, di naman nila pinili na magkaroon sila ng problema. Pero kapag nagkaroon tayo ng drug-free workplace program na motivational in approach, di ba? Anong ibig sabihin nito? Parang people or workforce would be engaged. Lagi silang a-attend. Yung mga health talks natin, di na tayo mag-i-invite. Number 1 na agad silang magsa-sign up. Nandun na agad sila sa harapan. Di na sila upo sa likod. Diba? Hindi na sila aantukin. Sana hindi po kayo inantok today, ha? Okay. Ayun po. So, yun po yung gusto kong sabihin. Kasi, normally, pag medyo seryoso na, ito, ano ba yan? Ang seryoso na. Diba po? So, gusto ko talaga very motivational yung approach. It's something through the Employee Assistance Program. na meron talaga nitong stress management program, may ganun po, sports and recreational activities, employee of the year program, model of the year in the workplace. Ano po ba yung mga ganun? Promotional activities programs. Yun po, that's actually a component of making our workplace a drug-free workplace. Hindi lang siya doon nakakonsentrate sa, mag-drug test tayo para at least matakot sila. Hey, scare tactics is not evidence-based. Hindi po siya mag-work. Scare tactics, yes. Nasa standard yan. I think diniscuss po yan ni Pastor LJ sa UNODC. Okay? So dapat po very motivating, engaging yung approach. Boredom. Nag-experiment. Kasi nga dun sa progression of drug use, gusto ko lang pong banggitin yung progression po, nasa UPC po yan. So una po, experimental stage, tapos po nagiging occasional, regular, at nagkaroon na ng compulsive behavior. Boredom, tumikim, biglang nagustuhan, naging occasional na, naging regular na, at ngayon, nahirapan na kasi nagkaroon na ng compulsive behavior. Bakit? Walang drug-free workplace program. Walang intervention. Kung nagkaroon ng intervention, baka nasagip. Yan po ang campaign natin ngayon. Hindi lang kayo makikinig. You're inspired after this talk. Gusto ko na maging NDEP coordinator because I want to contribute to a drug-free workplace. That's really my purpose. Hindi lang talaga mag-educate sa inyo, but for you to become an advocate at the same time. It starts from yourself. You're happy doing it. It's a vocation. Di ba po? Ibig sabihin, every time na nandyan ka, 16 years, I started as a youth spokesperson for PhilCADSA. And in the workplace until now, I'm still there. And I think even if I will die, siguro mamamatay ako nagli-lecture about the drug prevention program. Because ewan ko, ang pinakamasaya sa buhay ko is the reward na if someone would hear me talk about this and be inspired and that change his or her life, then I think that is my greatest reward of all. Yun po. I don't know. Sana nararamdaman niyo po ako. And monotony, ito na lang laging ginagawa niya. Pagpasok, yun pa rin. Pag-uwi, yun pa rin. Kaya minsan may sakit na siya. As if doing something, bisi-bisihan na. Paulit-ulit na. Kaya yung promotional campaign, yung recreational activity, yung mga model employee, mga program po yan. Okay, availability of drugs. Okay, so dapat po, doon pa lang sa ating mga security personnel na pumapasok sa ating mga building or sa school, they are also trained. Kailangan advocate din sila para walang nakakapasok or nakakalusot. But if yung atin pang yung mga security personnel, sila pa yung nagsusupply. Nakuha po, what if sila pa yung substance abuser? Doon pa lang sa entry. Cut na natin. Train natin yung ating mga security personnel kasi kasama doon yung safety, diba? Train natin sila. Hayaan nating mag-umapaw sa puso nila na sila din ay maging advocate para mapangalagaan yung mga bata na pumapasok sa school at yung mga empleyado na parte ng workforce. Okay? Stress. Sa pandemic na to, lahat yata na si stress. 'Di ba? Yung mga sa akin ngayon, nasa live feed. Parang kanina natutuwa naman ako. Ang sabi, how are you feeling today? That's the start. Parang kick off. I'm doing okay. Para sa akin, ito lang ang pinaka sa akin na sa buhay ko to. Life without stress is boring. And a boring life is also stressful. Sometimes we need a challenging stress in our lives. Huwag lang extreme. Di ba po? And the essence right now that I'm talking to you, nilalagyan natin yung programa, ang ganda. Alright. Factors affecting drug abuse in the workplace, meron agad tayong intervention. Okay. Pressure. 'Di ba? Actually, ang ginagamit natin is peer preference and influence. Hindi na natin ginagamit yung peer pressure. Alright. By essence, walang taong tinutukan ng baril na kapag hindi magda-drugs at the end of the day, papatayin siya. Nakuha po, it is through your own, yung, alam mo yun, yung how you choose your friends. It's how you prefer to be with that group of people. Kaya, choose people who choose you. Wow, ganun-ganun na. Choose people who choose you. Alright? Piliin mo yung mga tao nakikita mo yung worth mo. Diba? Na hindi mo na kailangan magdroga pa para makita yung worth mo na yan. Because I believe, ikaw sapat na. Oh, yun. Ikaw buong-buo ka na. Sapat ka na. Okay? Hindi mo na kailangan ng confirmation from other people na ikaw ay buo. Kasi naniniwala ako, buo ka na. So that alone, hindi mo na kailangan ng pressure from friends para patunayan yung sarili mo. Because I believe, wala naman talagang may monopoly ng lahat ng mga talent sa buong mundo. Kasi ikaw, meron ka ring talent. Yoo! Meron ka ring potential. Okay? And distorted values. Pinaka-importante po ito. Okay? Lagi talaga akong naniniwala na nag-uugat ito dun sa value system natin. Yung sa normative belief which is also affected because of our value system. Alright, yung tinuro ng ating lolo at lola, ng ating mga parents. Kaya yung mga teachers diyan, malaki ang factor din ninyo sa paghubog ng ating mga kabataan sa paniniwala na wala talagang maidudulot na maganda yung droga. Kasi kapag na-distort na yung values na yan, malaking po yan, risk factor. Na-discuss ata ni Pastor yon, yung risk factor na yan. Alright? Overprotective. Kailangan po mas mataas yung protective factor kaysa sa risk factor. Kasi pag mataas po ang risk factor than protective factor, that will start the initiation. Okay? And that prevention po na diniscuss ni Pastor LJ is we need to delay the initiation or stop the initiation talaga. That's our campaign. That's prevention. So doon pa lang, dapat alam na natin. Okay? Alright? And lack of information. I think sana naging successful tayo dun sa ating 3 episodes. Kasi nagbigay sa atin ng information. Sinasabi ko nga, lamang ang may alam. At kapag lamang ka, get to share it. You guys are so blessed today. Maybe I'm not saying that is because of me, but what I'm saying is because there's an NDEP program. Congratulations sa Department of Education for having this program. Siguro ang dami-dami nyo na siguro mga webinar na naatinan, pero this one, sana magkaroon to ng special part sa buhay natin. Because we are actually saving one possible victim of using drugs today. By initiating that program in our workplace, at isa puso po natin yan. And with the passion that you are going to give with that program, I think we will never go wrong. All right. So moving on, sorry, I've said a lot. Characteristics of a drug abusers in the workplace. Una, general changes in overall personality, become more aggressive and unable to accept criticisms. Kasi dahil sa tamang hinala, alright, na lagi na lang siya yung pinag-uusapan. Halimbawa, may bulong-bulong, ganun po. Tamang hinala, alright? Deterioration of physical appearance, as I've shown you kanina, dun sa effect ng paggamit ng shabu. Yung 5 years and 10 years of physical change. The loss of weight, haggard looking, feeling of being tired always, wearing of sunglasses at night. Halimbawa, yung driver, nagda-drive at night, na naka-sunglasses. Di ba it's so extreme? Dahil yan sa constricted pupil, glassy eyes, nasisilawan siya. Kaya siya nag-sunglasses sa gabi. Alright? And next, okay, characteristics of drug abusers in the workplace, unusual borrowing of money. Baka mamaya, hindi na magpapahiram. Kasi nga sign, characteristic of drug abusers in the workplace, unusual borrowing of money. Kasi saan nga ba to? Believe me, kapag nasubukan na yan, kapag na-try na yan, ang hirap niyan i-maintain. Nakuha po. Kasi lahat yan ibibenta. Hindi lang mangungutang yan. Pati yung mga gamit niya sa bahay, may ibibenta pa yan. Diba? So yan yung mga characteristics I'm giving you guide. Increasing absences from work, carelessness and non-adherence to safety regulations that result to injuries, poor quality of work produced, reduced output, characteristics of drug abusers in the workplace. Nakuha po, characteristics of drug abusers in the workplace, calling in sick often, usually with complaints about flu, colds, and sinus problems. Diba? Yung snorting, yung shabu, sinusnort. Kaya din nakita mo yung sinus problems. Nakuha po. Alright? Calling in sick often, usually with complaints about flu, colds, and sinus problems. Kasi kapag hindi sila nakabatak, that's the term, or nakatira, that's the term, ay feeling nila may sakit sila. disinterested in the job and not motivated to improve himself through trainings. Kaya congratulations kayong lahat, pasadong-pasado na dito sa characteristics because you are motivated to improve yourself through trainings. Salamat po for coming in today and for listing for enlisting yourself. Frequenting odd places such as storage rooms, closets, basements, behind staircases without a cause. Pag walang mga dahilan, frequenting, ibig sabihin palagian na lang sa storage rooms, closets, basements, yung mga isolated places. Association with known drug users and abusers. 'Di ba? Yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung peer preference. Alright? Or peer preference, yung mga pagpili. Ngayon, pagpili ng kaibigan, na-associate na siya ngayon sa mga drug users and abusers. Yun, mga characteristics yan. So, effects of drug abuse in the workplace on individuals, una, shunning away from friends. Unti-unting lumalayo na. Alright? Sa mga kaibigan, especially those who are, di ba, yung mga good influences. Absenteeism, palagian na yung pag-absent. Irritability, mabilis mairita. Nervousness, alright? Kasama yun, resentment, hand tremors, frequent borrowing of money on individuals na naman yan, and arriving late or early from work. Diba? Ito po yung mga epekto ng drug abuse in the workplace on individuals. So kung meron po siyang epekto doon sa individual being, meron din po siyang, ulitin lang natin kasi baka mamaya meron po manggagaling dito na sa exam ninyo. Okay, so on individuals, ano yung epekto niya? Shunning away from friends, absenteeism, irritability, nervousness, resentment, hand tremors, frequent borrowing of money, arriving late. Anong epekto nito? Puro mga negative po. Saan po dyan yung mga positive effect? Wala namang positive effect dyan. Negative effect of drug abuse in the workplace. Kaya nga, kailangan may drug-free workplace program. Kailangan i-enforce talaga natin to with so much passion. Okay? Para at least walang gumagamit sa ating mga empleyado. Alright? And may epekto din po siya sa co-workers. Una, increased workload. Kasi nga, due to covering up of activities for colleagues that lead to conflicts. Kasi in the end, sasabihin niya sa tamang hinala, ikaw siguro yung nagsumbong kaya nagkaroon ng mga ganyang programa. Dahil sa mga ganyan niyang, kasi iniisip na niya. And then pag wala siya, merong gagawin, increased workload para dun sa present. Loss of production para sa mga manufacturing company yan. Ang problema pa dyan, kapag sa manufacturing company at merong nagda-drugs, pumasok na high, anong mangyayari dyan, pwede siyang ma-aksidente. Sa kanya na yon on individuals. Loss of production dahil yung machine, mali yung pag-operate. Di ba po? And yung quality. Alright. Other workers will want to just take it easy. Okay? And growing possibility of accidents and injuries due to negligence and impaired judgment. Yan po para naman sa mga co-workers. Yung epekto sa co-workers. And spread of communicable diseases among co-workers in the workplace like yung HIV and AIDS kasi nga intravenous yung ibang mga way ng paggamit. 'Di ba? Kasi nga meron na tayong liquid form of shampoo and liquid form of ecstasy. Yung sharing of needle, alam natin yan sa news. 'Di ba? Pag na-share yung needle, isang needle yung gamit, isang syringe. 'Di ba? Yung isa doon infected. And then since high na itusok sa kanya, that will actually spread. 'Di ba? The disease, the HIV and AIDS, tetanus, hepatitis, tuberculosis and many more. Di ba po? So hindi lang drug abuse, meron pa siyang ibang mga communicable diseases na dala. And the spread of drug use among co-workers. Kaya in my experience working in a laboratory of Drug Check Philippines, meron talaga kami na mga nahuhuli na nagpapa-drug test, nagda-drug test kasi kami sa mga clients. Di ba, nahuhuli nagpapa-drug test na madami sila. So baka siguro that night nagpat session sila. So yan yung spread of drug use among co-workers. Effects of drug abuse in the workplace on the employer. Sickness, increased medical cost. Siyempre, di ba, yung kanyang benefits dun sa sickness. 'Di ba? Lagi na lang siyang liban dahil sa kanyang mga nararamdamang sakit. Deteriorating working relationships resulting in industrial relation problems. Excessive time wasted during coffee and lunch breaks, mga habang mga breaks. Kasi nga, nandoon nagpunta sa mga isolated area like basement, like yung mga lugar na, 'di ba, na walang tao, and decline in the quality of products and services, or like halimbawa, kapag guro naman yan, yung kanyang dating sobrang galing yung kanyang mga teaching strategies, biglang nagkaroon na ngayon ng pagbabago. O absenteeism reduces productivity due to loss of manpower. Okay, so makakaapekto din doon sa employer, makakaapekto doon sa ating institution. And we don't allow that, and we won't allow that the Department of Education ay hindi drug-free workplace. Hindi tayo makakapayag. Kaya meron tayong ganitong webinar to inspire a lot of our NDEP coordinators to have that firing passion in them. Talagang isa puso talaga tong drug-free workplace at the end of this webinar. And of course, risks of company department secrets being sold to competitors, para po ito sa mga private company naman. And employee embezzlement, mga pagnanakaw po na mangyayari, pagkukuha po ng mga bond paper, ay hindi ba, ng paper clips, okay, hindi pa, mga malaki pong mga item para ibenta, damage to property due to accidents, and substandard products and low output resulting in wastage and precious scarce resources. Diba? Ibig sabihin, mababawasan yung ating mga resources dahil nga sa hindi ganun ka-standard yung mga kanilang ginagawa. Hindi pumasa sa quality. Madaming rejected. Okay? And then security threat to the company, loss of public trust and confidence due to poor quality production and services delivered. At lagi nating tatandaan, sa amin po ito, na yung pag hindi mo inalagaan yung customer mo, because customers are really everything. Care program po yan. For private companies, ma-share ko lang po. Care, customers are really everything. Someone else will. So yung competitor, so kailangan talaga sa private workplaces, lagi ko talang sinasabi, pag ako yung ini-invite na speaker na kailangan may drug-free workplace program kayo. Kasi kailangan yung productivity and then yung talagang output based from quality, kasi nga yung competitors are just there. An inability to respond to training and syempre, lagi po yung tulog. 'Di ba? So, kailangan yung enthusiasm, binanggit ko kanina, enthusiasm, yung ating pong energy and empathy sa lahat ng ating mga training programs. Decline in workers' discipline, creating supervision problems, kasi feeling mas magaling nga ako dyan eh. Mas magaling pa nga ako sa kanya eh. 'Di ba? Magkakaroon na ng problema yan sa disiplina. Alright? At tapos yung supervisor, mas inaangasan na niya. Missed deadlines and lost business transactions or deals due to unsound decision-making. And of course, for our school, our reputation. Di ba po? Yun ang ating iniingatan. So discouraging drug use at work, una, have a drug substance abuse policy. Set rules and regulations. Okay? So kailangan may policy muna tayo. Incentives can help prevent drug use and abuse and reward employees who voluntarily seek treatment for drug problem. Okay, maganda po yung mga ganyang programa. Sanctions can help discourage drug use, abuse at work, peer pressure, loss of privileges, bonuses, demotions, and transfer or suspension. So, yung, kasi sa handbook, hindi lang naman, pero binanggit ko kanina na yung scare tactics do not work. Pero doon sa handbook natin, kung ano yung corresponding sanction to, kung ano yung gagawin yung violation. Okay? But our approach, yung sinasabi ko kanina, should never be punitive in nature, but motivating and encouraging. And dismissal should be the last recourse. Okay? Ulitin po natin, dismissal should be the last recourse. Okay, now moving on, what employees or workers can do? Una, increase their knowledge about drugs and its effect. So ginawa po natin kanina yan, nagbigay lang po tayo ng mga pahapyaw on the street names, because I think yung sinabi ko nga kanina, sorry po, yung ating pong topic is also very interesting. Pag hindi magbabago, next episode, and that is the Pharmacology and Physiology of drug abuse. So, doon po natin malalaman palalo, mas madami pa po. Kasi sinusunod-sunod po ito chronology po yung approach ng ating pong programa. agree as to what constitutes acceptable behaviors jeopardizing health, safety, and security, identify local resources that can help employees in trouble with alcohol or drugs, and let new hires know that a drug-free workplace is the new norm. That means lahat ng papasok, alam nila na may programa at polisiya po tayo sa drug-free workplace. Pwede nating ipasok yung pre-employment drug testing bago pumasok para at least alam din nila, aside from knowing that there is a drug-free workplace program, is the application of the pre-employment drug testing for the newly hired, and devise non-disruptive workplace reminders. Mamaya ituturo ko po ano itong mga non-disruptive workplace reminders that can help. But yung steps in developing a drug and substance abuse prevention program, ito po yung una. Kailangan meron po tayong clear and comprehensive policy. So your company statement should reflect the needs and values of your workplace. To develop a company policy, consider anyone who will be affected. Involve employees from all levels. Working together will build support for the policy you will develop. So, yan po yung developing a clear and comprehensive policy kasi dun po tayo babalik pag meron po tayong mga, say for example, magkakaroon po tayo ng mga violation. So, babalik po tayo dun sa company code or company policy. Dapat comprehensive po yan. Next po is the training of supervisors. So supervisors need to know how to look for signs of substance abuse and what to do once they find them. Ulitin natin na. Supervisors, or mga, in your case, NDEP coordinator, need to know how to look for signs of substance abuse and what to do once they find them. To do their jobs properly, a supervisory training program on these topics is helpful. Information on specific drugs, causes, and effects, kaya nagbigay po ako sa inyo ng medyo complete knowledge. That's in the advocacy training po. Kasi parte po ito. In-apply ko po muna bago ko diniscuss sa inyo. So in-apply ko muna kung ano ito. So yun po yung information on specific drugs, causes, and effects. Diniscuss ko po yun. And para po makita ninyo yung application na dito. So may clear policy, meron po tayong training your supervisors discussing about the specific drugs, causes, and effects, methods of detecting drug and alcohol use, which will be discussed doon sa Pharmacology and Physiology, prevention and education strategies na gagawin. Magbibigay ako mamaya ng konti lang. Background on drug testing issues, I've done that one. And of course, Employee Assistance Program or EAP. Doon naman po sa mga, just in case medyo nagkamali at medyo nahuli po natin gumamit at nag-volunteer. Okay? Educating your employees is the step 3. Your employees must understand and remain aware of your ongoing commitment to a drug-free workplace. And whenever new workers are hired, as I've mentioned, or being considered for employment, they need to learn about the program. So, meron po tayong annual. Alright, meron po tayong annual. Ito na po yung para sa ating mga empleyado. At meron din po tayo, yung mga, ano na po natin yan yung matagal na or mga direct na natin. At meron din po tayong programa para po sa ating mga newly hired. So, dapat alam po nila yan. Before they entered in, bago sila tanggapin, kailangan po magsasign po sila at mabasa po nila yung company code of conduct at pipirmahan po nila yan. At meron po talaga doong specific para po dun sa policy ng drug-free workplace program. I love it. Okay po. And step 4, providing employee assistance program. Ito kanilang diniscuss ko. To help your employees deal with their problems, you may set up an employee assistance program which can help, una, identify problems, help resolve their problems through confidential short-term counseling or brief intervention, referrals, and follow-up services. Yun, at least maitutulong po natin sa kanila because yung sinabi ko kanina, we want really to develop an recovery-friendly workplace. Ayan. So sa EAP. And Employee Assistance Program may also offer program for supervisory training, education, and health promotion activities. Okay, and step 5, starting a drug testing program. Pasok pa rin po ito as a component. You need to make a number of decisions about how your program will be set up and operated. The list of questions below will help you get started. Una, who will you test? Applicants lang ba? Or all employees? Pangalawa, when will you test?
On random basis ba? Or as part of a physical examination? Ako po, this is my personal stand for 16 years. I don't agree that you need to include random drug tests sa annual physical examination. Because since the meaning is random, it should not be announced. It should be surprise. But annual physical examination, they know the date. And if they know that though this is being done random, because the meaning of random is everybody has an equal chance to be selected. But nakalimutan natin random that it should not be announced. So when will you test? Every after giving of salary, every after long weekend, and every after giving of bonuses. Sir Sandy, why? Because they have the money to buy. That's just a suggestion. And for what drugs will you test? Is that only for THC or marijuana? Or methamphetamine, hydrochloride, or shabu? Or will I include alcohol drug test through breath analyzer? Or MDMA or ecstasy? Or other panels, like 13 panels, like cocaine, like opium? You have to decide. Alright? Or, pwede rin bang isama yung mga prescription drugs which may affect work performances? Or baka pwedeng isama yung dope? No, nasa sa inyo po. Doon po ninyo yan pag-uusapan. And how frequent will you test? Is this random monthly? Is this once a year? Nasa sa inyo po. Kayo po yung magde-decide. Alright? But these are the guiding questions. You can have this program, you can have this module after. You can go back to our discussion and pwede nyo pong pag-isipan kung paano yung magiging programa nyo. If you have a program in place, baka pwede kayo mag-strategize. Sa drug testing po kailangan, meron din po yung strategy. Okay? And components of a drug-free workplace or drug abuse prevention program in the workplace. Una, company policies and procedures on alcoholism and drug abuse. So, dapat meron tayong comprehensive policy and procedures on alcoholism and drug abuse. Example, tardiness and absenteeism guidelines and establishing an alcohol drug-free workplace. Naka-anchor naman po yan dun sa ating batas po, dun sa alcohol. So, pwede po nating i-link po doon. Alright, yung ating programa din. And next, information on harmful effects of drugs and alcohol utilizing the following media: posters, comics, seminars, newsletters, leaflets, paging system, stage presentation, very, skits, exhibitions, film showings. And ito po yung gagawin nyo. So para malaman mo kung nag-work talaga to, meron kang intervention para dun sa mga empleyado na binigyan mo lang ng poster. Alright? Meron ka ring intervention para dun sa mga empleyado na binigyan mo ng seminar. Tapos bibigyan nyo sila ng pre-test. Alright? Kung yung binigyan mo ng intervention sa poster ay mas maganda ang result ng kanilang post-test as opposed doon sa nagbigay ka ng seminar. Ibig sabihin yung poster mo ay merong efficacy. The result is better than that of seminar. So magkakaroon ka ngayon ng ibang strategy. So magko-consider ka na dun sa poster. So eto lang, binibigyan ko lang kayo ng sample. But it's up to you to distinguish kung saan po dyan yung effective. Kasi hindi po pwede na bigay ka ng posters, comics, seminars, newsletters. Good thing kung meron kang maraming resources. Kung limited lang yung resources mo, kaya yan kung gusto mo magbigay talaga. But you need to test, you need to monitor, you need to evaluate. And the best way to evaluate is bibigyan mo yung specific number of, eto na to, yung controlled group mo, bibigyan mo sila ng intervention na binigyan mo lang ng poster. Bibigyan mo sila ng pre-test, and bigyan mo sila ng post-test. Diba? And then another intervention na nagbigay ka ng seminar. Kung mas maganda ang result ng pagbigay ng poster, kesa sa pag-conduct ng seminar, hindi ka na mapapagod kakasalita. Di ba? Ibig sabihin yung intervention mo sa poster, mas okay. Monitor mo na lang yun. Di ba? May monitor ng i-monitor mo kung talagang maganda din, ng paganda yung paggamit mo ng poster as your medium. Ayan, ganun yon. Para hindi ka nagwe-waste ng time. Kasi halimbawa, litid mo sa kakasalita, tapos pagdating ng post-test, mas maganda pa yung result ng poster. Oh, di ba? Ganun po. Yeah, that's how we actually monitor and evaluate. Okay? And next po, education. Example, employee education program, training of staff or supervisors for EAP, and training on parenting. So I think yung iba sa inyo naka-attend ng ating partner na Dangerous Drugs Board, yung STEP program, ang ganda po niyan. So sana po, yung ating mga parents ay libre po yan na programa ng ating Dangerous Drugs Board, and not everybody knows about the program. So balik po natin dun sa educations. Kaya pag mas madami tayong mga parents na may engage to attend this program, and if we actually give this a priority, pwede natin dalhin po sa ating workplace, and we could have a partnership with the Dangerous Drugs Board on a cost-sharing basis. Total, ang atin naman pong Department of Education, di ba? Like, Ma'am Gurley would know, Doc Dumla would know na nagpa-partner sa ating mga agency po or government agency, and then cost sharing po. Yun, para sa mga programa. Okay? Para mas madami tayong maabot, and kahit sa workplace po ay magawa po natin itong mga program. Positive alternatives, opportunities for wholesome recreation and self-expression. So, yung sinasabi ko po kanina na recreational and healthy activities, magpalagay ng sports recreational family day. Maganda po yun. Alright? Ito po yung mga positive alternatives. So, example, sports, cultural activities, and yung livelihood activities. So, na makakatulong para sa kanila. And number 5, career development and job enrichment program. Okay, career development, human resource development, job rotation, search for model employees, and yung pagsabi lang na good job, you're doing a good job. I mean, alam mo yung top, bawal na kasi ngayon yung top eh. O diba? Kasi bawal na tayo because of the pandemic. Pero dati pa yung ginagawa ko, you're doing a good job. That's nice. Alam niyo yung yung cultivation of culture of praise and appreciation that says a lot. Yung maramdaman ng tao na yung worth niya, at yung natataas yung confidence by saying you did good today. That's so embracing of of individuals' differences. Yung maramdaman niya na nagki-care ka para sa kanya, that is something. Like yung teacher of the month, yung saying na, ooh, good job. Uy, you're getting sexier today. May mga ganun-ganun po I mean, sabi ko, appreciation lang yan. Okay, na-appreciate mo yung nagbago sa kanya, yung nangyari sa kanya, di ba? Yung accomplishment niya, yung parang wala sanang inggit. Kaya sabi ko kanina, workaholic. Ang saya nun, kasi it's really connected to making our workplace healthy and safe. Hi. And employee of the month, di ba? Or teachers of the month, or search for model employee. So, yun po yung ating mga intervention. And yung intervention employee assistance program po, and yung ating treatment and rehabilitation and aftercare para po sa mga ating kapatid na medyo naligaw at one point in their lives. Thank you so much, everybody. Marami pa sana akong adlibs, pero I'm running out of time. And sumobra po yata ako ng 15 minutes because hanggang 6 lang talaga yung sabi sa inyo. Pero na-enjoy ko po yung topic natin about Drug-Free Workplace Program, DW, Drug-Free Workplace Program. So, DFWP, that's our program. Maraming salamat po. And bago ko po tapusin po, mag-iiwan lang po ako ng isang yung inspiration for everybody po. Lagi ko pong sinasabi na yung trabaho ko po, like yung facing you right now, I don't know if this is by accident, but I think I was really put by God here for purpose. And ano po yung purpose na yun? I think to become an inspiration to many. Ano yung inspiration na yun nadala? Na yung smile, lagi lang tayong nagsasmile. Hindi dahil sa droga, kundi regardless of what we are going through. Kasi naniniwala ako, see miracles in life every day. Yun po yung ating sandata at hindi droga. Para po magkaroon tayo ng drug-free workplace, drug-free home, drug-free society, and drug-free Philippines. Mabuhay po at magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Sir Santi, magandang gabi po. We would like to see you, sir. Yan, para medyo dark po yung screen nyo. Is there something that we can do para mas makita namin kayo?
Wait lang po
Oh, sir, alam nyo, buhay na buhay ang buong Pilipinas sa nakalipas.
Salamat po.
Our comment section on Facebook talagang more information na tumitimo daw sa puso ng ating mga viewers, talagang na-energize sila. Mukhang yung tipong pagod nila sa maghapon, sir. Nung marinig daw kayo, parang talagang parang silang nakikinig ng something that energizes them. So we hope we could see you, sir. Kasi meron lang isang magandang tanong dito. Marami po kaming nakuha feedback, pero most of them pwedeng masagot sa mga future broadcasts, sa future episodes. Yung iba naman nasagot na sa past episodes.
Apo.
So isang question na lang dito, sir. Pero we hope kung meron pong extra lighting, sir.
Yes po. Ay, sis, paano nga sir? Sorry, maglalagay lang ako ng lighting. Sorry, medyo dumilim na. Hindi kasi
okay lang, sir. Okay lang. I think our viewers, our participants would understand. Ayan, sir. Yes.
Pasensya na kasi hindi ako pwedeng mag-stop, masisira yung momentum.
Okay lang po. Actually, the participants said they were really energized to listen to your voice. Kahit ginalis namin yung video nyo kanina, everyone was really engaged. Sir, may isang tanong lang dito kasi kanina you talked about, ang dami nyo rin kasing quotable quotes, no? Yung mga participants po natin nagko-comment sila ng quotable quotes ninyo. Yung isa doon, yung parang your past is your history, people do not know about it, something like that. So may isang participant po tayo from Rizal Central School, Nueva Ecija. Sabi niya, giving a chance to a colleague, an office mate, for example, a co-teacher, na at some point of his life, gumamit siya ng drugs. Giving a chance is like giving that person your trust. So, how can you give your full trust to someone na parang sa pananaw ng lipunan, meron na siyang kinomit na crime dahil sa ginawa?
Oh, social stigma. Kaya nga, sir. Yes, sir. Magandang tanong po. Very enlightening kasi nga yung ating campaign po is to, aside from drug-free workplace program, to delay the initiation, ang pinaka, di ba kanina ko naririnig nyo is lagi kong sinasabi to develop a recovery-friendly workplace. Di ba po? Ibig sabihin, pag meron tayong recovery-friendly workplace, we will become more embracing and we will actually become more compassionate doon sa pinagdadaanan ng iba. Kasi iba-iba yung coping natin. Yung bawat tao at some points in their lives maybe nagkamali. Pero lagi kong sasabihin na their past does not define who they are of their present. Kasi naniniwala ako, their present must be bigger than their past mistakes. So pag binigyan ka ng trust ng tao na to, gamitin mo yan as an opportunity also to inspire the person. Kasi naniniwala ako, kaya siya nag-confide sa'yo, kaya niya binigay sa'yo yung trust of confiding something like very confidential, is because naniniwala siya na hindi siya nakaramdam ng paghuhusga sa'yo. So doon natin pwedeng simulan sa bawat isa. Hindi lang to yung tungkol sa drugs, kundi sa lahat ng mga nangyayari sa buhay natin. If we start embracing each other's differences and if we stop judging each other kung anong pinagdadaanan, I think this country would be a better place to live. Yun yung sa akin. I mean, ako kasi walang masamang tinapay. At lagi kong sinasabi, because I've also done yung mga intervention po, motivational intervention para po sa ating mga nag-surrender. Kung ano nyo po, may program po yung ating government. I was invited po to do that. At una po, I was some kind of hesitant kung meron ako maitutulong sa kanila. And then, very motivating yung approach. And these people, yung iba umiiyak sila, yung iba yung impact. At doon ako nakapag-start na sabi ko, I think I'm doing a good job. Ibig sabihin, yung isang word mo na masabi sa tao na yun at nagkaroon ng 360-degree turnaround, that is something. Ibig sabihin, yun talaga yung purpose mo, na hit mo yun. Kaya nga sabi ko, di ba majority sabi ni Ma'am Girlie sa akin is mga NDEP coordinators, pag naisa puso talaga to, yung passion na ma-create yung drug-free workplace and to help. The idea is to help, hindi lang talaga to carry out because this is part of my job. Perfect. Sobrang iba po kasi yung passion. I hope you can get me where am I coming from. Kung saan ako nanggagaling. Kasi every time I speak, yung parang yung dala, yung joy. Kasi nga, yung isang word na masabi ko and it changed the life of a person, I think sobrang laki na siya. So thank you so much for that question. It reminds me that I think I am doing a good job.
And I have to continue doing it.
Yes, sir, you are. You are. We believe that you are. Actually, si Ma'am Girlie, before inviting you, she was really speaking of good things about you as a fellow national trainer for UPC. So we are
Thank
thankful
you.
for this opportunity on behalf of the thousands of viewers from all over the Philippines ng DepEd Philippines. Maraming salamat, sir. I think I love what the point that you're making all throughout na this is not really about the drugs. This is not about the
Yes,
substance, but this is about the person that you are
yes,
caring for, that you are
yes,
that whose health at yung safety gusto
yes.
nating masecure.
Kasi like minsan gusto ko lang pong isingit yun, I also want to take it from there. Kasi 'di ba, yung mga batas natin, yung ating mga policy, those are the letters of the law. But we really have to understand the spirit of the law. And the spirit of the law is showing compassion eh. Yung drug-free workplace program is actually a spirit of all of the law. We want to prevent. We want to prevent. Prevention is better than cure, lagi kong sinasabi. But as much as possible for those na nagkamali, we want also to encourage them to get back on their original self because they are also a big part to the society. Kailangan maibalik natin yon. Yung tiwala na yun sa kanila.
Thank you very much, Sir Santi, as you must multiply your tribe and influence or inspire and motivate people to share the same passion when it comes to drug prevention. Maraming salamat po. Alam niyo po, maraming katulad ninyo sa Department of Education. At ito na nga po ang
Thank you.
libo-libong viewers natin na nakasama sa gabi na, no, sa hapon at gabing ito. Sir, ang dami pa sana namin gustong i-raise, although yung iba nga po pwedeng masagot sa future episodes natin, but we have limited time. So thank
Yes,
you
Pastor.
for joining us. Sa ating mga viewers, wag po muna kayo umalis. We would like to invite you for a few minutes to listen to our Chief of the School Health Division, Bureau of Learner Support Services, Dr. Maria Corazon Dublao, for a closing message. Kasi ang taas-taas po ng energy na shinare sa atin ni Sir Santi, no? Ang ganda lang i-contextualize yung energy na to sa overall direction ng DepEd. So we would like to call back Dr. Dublao.
Maraming salamat, Gian, at natutuwa ako talaga na nakikinig sa aking kapatid na si Santi. Kasama ko po yan sa Vienna. Marami kaming mga kalukuhan, mga fun moments sa Vienna when we were part of the Drug Demand Reduction Global Pool. And syempre, Santi, nakakahawa yung pag-inspire na ginawa mo, at si Gian naman at saka si Girlie, sobrang ganda at sobrang efficient ng kanilang mga pagpili ng mga topics, pag-accommodate ng ating mga speakers, kaya bonggang-bongga din ang aking magiging closing. And it will be an A to E closing message. Yung A is, abangan natin ang mga susunod na kabanata at mga episodes. Dahil every session, merong kakaibang putahe na iniaalay sa substance use prevention, at iba-iba rin at ang mga global trainers din ang ating mga inihahain sa inyo na magbigay ng mga information and knowledge. At masigabong virtual palakpakan. And yung B, alam mo, yung B is bida ka. Bida ka dahil nasa sayo ngayon yung power to make a difference. Bida ka dahil kaya mo nang i-translate yung mga natutunan mo ngayon kay Santi at sa dalawa pa nating mga speakers. Bida ka dahil lahat ng knowledge ay alam namin na bababa yan sa mga puso nyo, and you'll be able to convert yung mga information and knowledge into action. And yung letter C, tandaan natin yung mga diniscuss ni Santi kanina about the comprehensiveness ng ating initiative sa workplace. So ito ay kung sa DepEd, napapaloob itong comprehensive policy natin sa workplace under the wellness program. At yung compassion, let's really understand yung mga taong may pinagdadaanan at yung mga napunta ng substance use disorder and addiction. Kailangan natin silang bigyan ng compassion at akayin sila upang makaiwas ulit o matalikuran nila yung kanilang addiction. And letter D, ang D ay we are all DDR advocates, drug demand reduction advocates. So sa ating mga UPC implementers, mabuhay kayo. Yung mga UPC trainers natin, mabuhay kayo. At inaasahan natin na lalaki pa yung pamilya natin who are into substance use prevention. And yung E, yung last, excited po ako na maituloy natin and get our NDEP series into the next level. Baka may second wave po ito kasi marami pong nagre-request kay Gian at saka kay Ma'am Girlie na dapat may second wave at hindi matigil itong ating webinar series. So maraming salamat Yusek sa Avedra at saka syempre sa aking kaibigan na si Santi. Maraming salamat talaga. Hope we will again travel together and be a part of this global advocacy for substance use prevention. At sa inyong lahat, God bless you and keep safe.
Thank you very much po, Dr. Dumlao. Laging may pa-acronym sa atin si Dr. Dumlao. Thank you very much po again, Sir Santi. Marami po yatang mag-reach out sa inyo to invite you sa kanilang mga events on drug education. Naghahanap po sila ng person. So, they can find you on Facebook, I suppose, sir.
Yes.
All right. Okay, so sa ating po mga participants, just some closing reminders sa last 4 minutes po natin. Kasi lagi pong nagtatanong, paano ang certificates, paano ang registration. Sinabi po natin ito sa simula ng broadcast kanina, but we want to flash again on the screen. Yun pong ating mga links na kailangan ninyong tandaan kung saan makikita ang ating mga certificates. Thank you for your patience. We understand na ito po ay talagang bago sa ating lahat, mga platforms na inaaral natin. So for all your questions about this webinar, go to bit.ly/2020NDEP web series. Nandiyan po ang memorandum, ang step-by-step procedure, at ang sagot sa mga tanong ninyo. Kung hindi pa po kayo nakapag-register, kasi ngayon lang po kayo nakapanood ng ating episode, pwede nyo pong mabalikan yung mga previous episodes pag pumunta kayo sa DepEd Professional Development Learning Management System. Pwede pa rin po kayong mag-take ng quiz ng first 2 episodes doon. At doon nyo rin po makikita ang quiz mamayang hapon. So, kailangan nyo lang po mag-register muna kayo dito sa link na to, bit.ly/2020 NDEP Web Series Reg. At pag nag-register po kayo dyan, makikita nyo na yung link papunta doon sa DepEd PDLMS pati yung inyong enrollment key. Hindi nyo po kailangan magpaulit-ulit ng registration kada linggo, isang beses lang, and then you're on board the course. So paano ang certificates? Ulitin lang po natin sa ating next slide. How do we generate our certificates? Pupunta lang po kayo dun sa DepEd PDLMS, tapos i-take ang exit quiz. Kapag naka 80%, automatic ma-generate doon po sa ilalim ng page. Feel free to explore the platform. Alam ko po this is a new system, so kailangan talagang pag-aralan. But maybe in the future, we can have some view lang din sa inyo dito paano i-navigate yung ating PDLMS. So again, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng nakatutok sa broadcast na ito for the past 2.5 hours. Even kami lang po, iilan po yung faces na nakita ninyo sa ating screen. Gusto lang po nating emphasize na marami pong mga tao na involved para maging posible ang webinar series na ito. So again, as we do every week, we would like to thank our partners in the Dangerous Drugs Board and the ASEAN Training Center for Preventive Drug Education or ATCPDE. Most of the speakers ay sa kanila po natin makakasama, and sa DDB who has been partnering with us for drug prevention initiatives. Of course, dito po sa loob ng DepEd, we would like to acknowledge the support of the ICTS or Information and Communications Technology Service sa leadership ni Director Abraham Abanil. And of course, ang team ni Sir Mark C., Sir Mark Papa, who are behind the scenes po natin dito. Ang ating Public Affairs Service under the leadership of Director Gudoy, maraming salamat po sa inyong pag-support sa pag-promote ng activity na ito sa pag-manage ng DepEd Philippines Facebook page, and sa pagsama sa atin sa pagtataguyod ng isang drug-free Department of Education. Salamat sa team ni Johnson na naggagawa ng ating mga excellent design and IEC materials. Thank you rin po sa YFD, sa regional offices, sa pag-disseminate ng information tungkol dito. And of course, our school health and nutrition personnel, ang ating mga NDEP coordinators. Maraming salamat po. And syempre sa inyong lahat na nandito po, nakinig hanggang sa oras na ito and tumututok. Sa pangatlong episode na, meron pa po tayong 7 episodes na natitira for this first series. So sabi nga po ni Dr. Dumlao kanina, we're considering na magkaroon ng second batch sa susunod na mga buwan. Maraming salamat po sa pag-stay ninyo with us. We would like to leave you with a challenge. Kasi pinag-usapan natin kanina na we talk about drugs, but it's really about people. So as we close this session, we leave you one challenge. Please post on your social media page. Walang prize, walang cellphone, walang any award. Pero please post on your social media profile or timeline any encouraging word about your colleagues, about your co-workers. Build them up. Talk about the good things that they have done. Appreciate them. And let's see if that will contribute to a place where people are safe and healthy. Maraming salamat po. Ako po ulit si Gian Adaw and we will see you again next week, 4 o'clock. Dito pa rin po sa DepEd Philippines. Magandang gabi po.